to think in decentralization, let people work with stuff, you know, like let's be together, let's do things as partners. Then let's jump from 99 to 2017 in Dubai in October, where I came for the first time at a Trescon conference talking about MessengerBank. And you all know on LinkedIn that there's like 3,750 cryptocurrency experts. I have never personally met one. So last year in Dubai, I was on stage and I said, hey, listen guys, we are a bunch of first graders. At least I am one of them. And now since we're in the sandbox, let's play together. The only way you get to mass adoption is by being very unselfish, giving away all your technology, that people share it. Why not? If there would be 20 messenger banks, if there would be 50 messenger banks around the world, would I have a competitor? No. Because how many real banks is there? 5,000? Do they have problems? They print all the money they want. They just call the national banks and, hey, Harry, you know, we have a little trouble here in Germany. Give me 2 trucks of euros. Done deal. Cryptocurrency, decentralization, honesty, it's about helping people. It's about everybody, helping everybody to a better and less corrupt world. That's what cryptocurrency and blockchain can do for us. So if we keep that in mind, I am not afraid of competition. I gladly white label MessengerBank out to 100 people. Do you know why I'm not afraid of that? Because look at the crypto market as on a sunny day in Siberia. And if you see that, you will see that I am the one with the first footprint in the snow. And the rest, I have to turn around. So by giving my shit away, second generation won't give me competition, but it will give me, what? Mass adoption. Because if it's only MessengerBank, there is an old saying, at least when I was young, that somebody liked the mother and somebody liked the daughter. So if we have MessengerBank in many different variants, with many different names, with many different philosophies, then the banking will come to a level where normal humans can actually take advantage. So I believe that everybody on this planet needs banking, but I also believe nobody needs banks. So let's stick to that. MessengerBank right now is called MessengerBank because we have to get to mass adoption, and the only way to tell people that we are a bank is by putting the name bank into it. In 2022, when we have 250 billion users, 250 million. I see that B all the time. Where's the girl who painted the B? She's responsible. With 250 million users, I want to take the name bank away, because what are we? We're just a messenger. Basically, we are just a messenger, and we want to be the service provider. That's another fancy word. We want to be the service provider for everybody who needs banking. The messenger, you can put money on your card, you can pay your bills, you can top up your phone, you can take loans against your crypto, which is so low right now that it's better not to sell it, but just take some of Kent's cash, you have plenty. And that way we get a community that can help one another. I see a lot of people my age. What do they do with their savings? Well, they can put it into our depot, and we can create an ecosystem where all the young people now can buy a home. So they can get a messenger mortgage for 3% a year, or 4%. And the old guys who put their money into the system, they have a safe pension. So older help younger, younger help older. We all work together. That's my dream. That's what I want to do. I want to help this construction worker in Spain. He came from Colombia, he's working his ass off, and when he goes every month to Western Union and he has to pay $80 or $100 in commission to send $1,000 home, that's 2 days. That's 2 days of hard work for him that he has to pay to an organization that really don't have any reason to exist. Because with blockchain, with cryptocurrency, with a prepaid debit card, we can fix that free of charge. So why should he go to Western Union? Why shouldn't he just go to any convenience store, buy the MessengerBank card as you saw yesterday, redeem the code, put the money, and on his app, send money to his sister, his uncle, whomever he wants. End of story, it's done fast. So that way, when an unbanked person who works in a country like Spain or the United States and he can't get a bank account because he doesn't have sufficient documentation in the country where he's working, when he gets paid bi-weekly, he can get robbed. So what does he do if he doesn't have any cash left? He lost his money at the bus station. If he have a MessengerBank card, he just calls customer service and a virtual card is issued to him. In a matter of seconds, you go to any convenient card and it's done. Any convenience store, he gets his card established. He didn't lose anything. He lost $17 for replacement card, but because on Buchanan it's Christmas, we pay that for him. We don't even want him to pay for that because, you know, things happen. So my philosophy is, if I can help these people get a new level of security in life, then they can start to save money. What happens when they can save money? Well, governments can start eventually to tax them. We have done that KYC. Maybe they're illegal in America, but if they are born in Colombia and they have a Colombian passport and a Colombian driving license, and they have a Colombian water bill, they are not illegal in my system. So because of that, now we can start to establish who is paying taxes, who is not paying taxes. We can start to establish where is one Enrique Gonzalez on Wednesdays, on Fridays, and Tuesdays, which is, you know, government loves shit like that. So it's a win-win situation. He has security, the government know where he is, they can take his money for taxes if he owes them. He can get a mortgage and start a family and, you know, live a normal life. That's my dream. That's what we are doing, and we have made all the necessary steps to be there. In 2020, we are the largest retail bank in the world, and I know for sure that JP Morgan and others will come with a very, very large checkbook. I mean, a big checkbook. But my dream is not to become a billionaire one more time. I don't really need that. And my kids are sufficient spoiled. So I won't sell it. I will not sell it. I want to give it away to all the card holders, all the token holders, everybody who have an interest in MessengerBank. I will give it away and I will retire. When it is totally decentralized and we can throw the keys away, I'm gone. And MessengerBank can live happily ever after. My English is not very good. I speak a few other languages. So you want another language? There's something that you understand better? Is there anyone who have questions? I mean, questions is really important.
I got 3, but I'll ask 1, and then we can get to the other.
No, this is like, we are close to the White House, right? We are close to the White House.
We are close to the White House.
And I know guys like you. So if I'm the Mr. Hashtag 45, are you from CNN or are you from Fox News?
None of that stuff. None of that lamestream news. But I mean, on a rudimentary level, you are the modern day full bells and whistles digital version of what once was like a Western Union, but you have so many more things that you offer. Is that an insult to you?
No, I am modern day Wells Fargo. And modern day, if we take it in English terms, Robin Hood. Because blockchain will redistribute wealth. if there is no markets anymore, and everything is on blockchain and tokenomics, then all these little traders in their fancy suits and their ties, they're not going to make as much money as they used to do, because now we have a decentralized exchange. Nobody is working there. It's all artificial intelligence and blockchain. So I'm a Robin Hood and I'm a Wells Fargo. We can do everything any bank can do, and we can do it costless. Second question?
You mentioned the word taxes, which I don't know how many people...
Mihaela, can you speak up?
Did you say taxes? Something about...
Taxes. Tax them. Tax. If you want to be a part of a community...
That was not my question.
Okay.
So my question is, when we have to pay taxes, we work with the government, right? So how are you going to reconcile these two? Or maybe...
How can you ask such an easy question? If we have a platform with 250 million people, and they now have a real existence, they have a bank, $1,000 a week, because you are really good at marketing, you're really good at networking, so all the old ladies want to see you.
Yeah.
Pay taxes.
I totally understand, but so far, I do not know. I believe the government doesn't really look into my bank accounts to see without me telling them.
No, you have to make a 1041, is that what you call it?
Yeah, so now on Messenger, I will have the government see all...
No. If you do your 1041, if you do all that stuff, nobody's going to look into you. But if a US organization is writing MessengerBank a letter and saying that Enrique Gonzalez with a Colombian passport is doing something, can you send a screenshot of his latest file? We are obliged, because we are paying, to send them that file. Yes, I think everybody does that. I think that's not something we do. That's it's called AML, anti-laundry money activities. Why do you think I told you that Enrique Gonzalez is from Colombia? Yes, it's not because he's a gardener that he makes $1,000 a night. Anyway, next question. Any more questions?
Yeah. He's up again. John, he's up.
I'll be up if no one else is going.
Are you from CNN?
No, I'm where you went through. I'm not part of the lame stream. Yesterday, it was thrown out to us that a number of the cryptocurrencies, if they're in full proliferation like they are now, need to potentially be weeded down to just Bitcoin so that this can move forward, since the cryptocurrencies are in trouble right now. That being said, if the gold standard returns, the question was asked, there's the chance that Bitcoin and others may go down to zero. What's your take on that line of thinking? If the gold standard returns, how do you feel about the cryptocurrency?
Let's do it a two-step way, right?
Okay.
So on the Ethereum network, you have like 3,000. Ethereum is very kind. Buterin is a really kind guy, so he called them altcoins. Yes? I call them shitcoins. I'm less kind. So let's take every ICO made in 15, 16, 17, and 18. Let's put all ICOs into a little ICO prison, and then they have to present their white paper, they have to present how much money they raised, and they have to present what they did it for. And if they have a good heart and they did it for a good reason, we should let them out of ICO prison. And the rest of them should just get burned. I mean, I'm talking coins now, I'm not talking humans, right? It's not Guantanamo Bay. So let's get rid of all the coins that was fraudulently created for personal gain. In other words, I'm 19, I want a Ferrari, but I don't want to work. Yes? These guys, get the fuck out. That's my take on it. So let me tell you something about gold standards. We have a blockchain which is called gold on blockchain. We also have a blockchain with Bitcoins. Our coin, the MBCT, we're not interested in value on that. It's a utility coin. It is just a transport. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's an auditor. Instead of having 3,000 ladies in Bosnia in the office to make all the audits, the blockchain does it. And the MBCT, it's just a transporter. So we don't care what the value is. The value on the MBCT is 495. Why is it 495? It could be 595 or 50,095. It is just for people to know when they go to Walmart or 7-Eleven, how much money do they have to put down to pay the rent. So our coin, we are not interested looking at that utility coin as value, because in reality with all the cryptocurrency laws, you know that a utility coin in its purest effect is not allowed to be on a secondary exchange, so it's not allowed to be a speculation object. So we did it right from the beginning. If a utility coin have been an ICO, it's a security. If a utility coin have been part of an airdrop,
Are you giving
it's
us
a
the finger?
utility.
You were just giving us the finger. Just
No.
Yeah, you were. Right there, you were.
That was directed at Pennsylvania Avenue 1320. 1320. Okay. So we are a true utility coin. And we are actually 1 out of 3. The rest of them fucked up because they don't have the lawyers we have. They are not with the regulatory authorities like we are. We have a lot of experience. So we are well off. And regarding the Bitcoin will go to 1,200,000 in year 2030. Oh no. No, we will do gold. There will be an enormous recession starting next year and the following year, 2020. We will all be in deep trouble. And everybody which is more than 30 years old, they will spend all the money on gold. We know that. Old people, old habits, right? A few young kids will stick to the Bitcoin and go work and say, I am in for the hodl. I am here to stay. And then one day, gold is such a high number that it becomes the tulip. Do you all remember the tulip that went to like 375,000 Dutch francs and boom, down to like $1 or whatever a man, if you buy 3 tulips and you get a little. So that's it. This coin, in my opinion, is the largest bank in the world with no cash. MessengerBank is the largest retail bank in the world with 0 cost in office, 0 cost in employees. Airbnb is the largest hotel provider with no rooms. Alibaba, same story. Do I continue? You get the point, right? This is modern economy. Bank of America, Western Union, all the other guys. Well, just imagine to pay 60,000 people a salary and pay the rent where they sit. And they have to do everything for free to compete with MessengerBank. I don't think so. I really don't. And this is my honest opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm done. You can give me 1 or 2 questions and I'm out of here. 1 more, okay. CNN?
Unless someone else does.
No, come on.
All right,
You're smart guy.
final question is, you said that the cryptocurrency arena, let me make sure my camera's booted for this. You said that the cryptocurrency arena will potentially eliminate a lot of the corruption. And one of the I shouldn't say larger, but certainly it's purported that Kim Jong-un, who I think you know about the folks from North Korea, has a fair amount of Bitcoin. Is it a problem for the perception or the functionality of Bitcoin if potentially bad actors on the international scale hold large holdings of Bitcoin?
Let me tell you something. There is a coin called Monero. Monero is totally secret. You cannot trace that if you try it. And that is what Kim Jong is going to hold. Remember I knew his dad?
Right.
I have some videos,
Yes.
so he's in trouble.
Right.
So, let me just say something. Anybody with a Bitcoin wallet, if they are not truly AML and KYC eligible, guess what? It's not that we can't eliminate it. It's not that difficult because it's the fucking slowest network in the world. So, I don't believe that Bitcoin is half as dangerous for weapon dealers or drug dealers or politicians than cash. What do you call it in the crypto world? You call it fiat? Yeah. I feel sorry, but it's a fucking good car. Listen to me. Cash is dangerous. We need to live in a cash-free society. Based on blockchain, not based on some fancy politician who gets elected because he was in The Apprentice or because it's Kim Kardashian or whatever the future is. Let's stick to blockchain. Let's stick to democracy. Let's work together and let's build a better world. What I'm going to do next year when this is better organized, I'm going to United Nations. Because when you collect money for Doctors Without Borders or whatever, MessengerBank, money without borders. I want to give them a blockchain for free so that the food programs in United Nations and everywhere else, it's not going to be that you collect $10 and only $6 go to the end user, right? No. Give them a MessengerBank card and let 99.8% go to the end user. And no middleman is driving Rolls Royces. No, let them drive a fucking bicycle. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. It was a pleasure. Let me hear you. Come on. Hey, let me hear you.
Thank you so much for coming. It's huge, guys. What he's doing and what he has done, nobody else has done. And nobody else, people may be trying.
Nobody is as old and as fat as me.
Hey, it's huge. Another round of applause for you guys. So it is amazing. I know I was just talking with somebody, and they asked, who the big hitters are, and who this, and who's the real, and of course, Kent Kristensen was the first person I mentioned. As a matter of fact, 100%. And that's because that is what he is doing. And he's actually done it before, and now he's doing it again in this new market, and he's changing the world. He's changing the way it happens. So really is an amazing thing. I would like next to introduce somebody else that is changing the world. He is a world-renowned artist. He has now put himself in as a, quote-unquote crypto artist or a Bitcoin artist. He is at the forefront and leading this space. He was one of the, if not the premier artist, I think definitely the premier artist in Las Vegas at World Crypto Con. He kind of almost doesn't need any introduction. It's Vesa. Vesa, is that what you're saying it right? Vesa, please welcome him to the stage. So, Thank you. After the convention and at World Crypto Con, I was sitting there with Blake, and we were kind of charting our way forward, and it was late at night or whatever, and we were talking about this, and we talked about what had happened, and Vesa donated. He donated the piece of work, and he donated it to charity, and it's a huge thing, and hats off to you. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
Cool. Let's put some energy into this house. So, my name indeed is Vesa. I am a crypto artist, but I also have another platform called artdemo.org. And this image that you see over there is called The Beginning of a New Era, and it's the project that I'm still probably thus far most known for. And I body painted a Bollywood superstar actress called Miss Veena Malik, and it was quite a controversial project because she's Pakistani and she's Muslim. So for us to do 6 art pieces that commented upon the common origin of all spirituality all over the world was quite the wave. So because of this, we put in a communication that was very much about love and building bridges. And this is why we reached 300 million people, at least conservative estimate, through legacy media. We've been red-eyed and completely rabbit-holed into a spiral of a thing that I'm still yet to return. Very quickly I birthed another platform called Art for Crypto, because I realized that there was a contribution that I could give to this space in order to start telling the story of the revolution of what is unraveling in front of us in an artistic way. That is a project called Forever Rose. by Kevin Batteh, who's an artist in the stratosphere doing very, very cool things in the blockchain. And that's the art piece that is thus far the most expensive crypto piece, and it sold for $1 million. And that is very, very cool. And then there's also the most expensive crypto kitty ever sold, and that's $170,000 at this point. And while I applaud the artists and the platform and everything, I can't help but to think that the actual substance of the art, even though all the logistics and the technicalities of it is cool and the relationships that have been built, I think we can do better in terms of the artistic substance. And that's what I'm here to do. And like Bruce mentioned, this is all kind of tying back to Las Vegas and Mr. Adam Williams, because he kindly, when we realized that we were going to have a mission together in Vegas, he introduced me to the Bad Crypto podcast guys, because I just told him that I love these guys and they were coming over. So I got to go on the show, and I wanted to make something about the appearance and make something for them that tries to tell the story of what it is that they're trying to do. And they're kind of borrowing a little bit of the thunder of Michael Jackson, The Good Kind of Bad. And I called it The Blood on the Podcast Floor. And it has its own mini movie. I'm not going to go too far into the story of it, but it's got how Hunter S. Thompson and Johnny Depp met, and that's kind of tied into the logos, and you'll have all the cryptocurrencies under the sun with their logos into this whole thing, and the story's in that video if you want to check it out. So, but to move on, because I don't have a lot of time, when I came to Vegas, Codex Protocol gave me the privilege. They're basically, they've got about 6 million in art and collectibles today available in cryptocurrencies, and they're becoming the industry standard of how to do provenance in art, because it's one of the things that blockchain is really helping to solve. So, right when I came to Vegas, they gave me the privilege of having my own signature on their platform, even before all the big museums or whatever. So I was very, very happy to do this experiment with them. And this piece is the very first one that I verified as myself on that provenance. And now then we kept missing each other with Joel and Travis in World CryptoCon. And I wanted to get this piece signed by them, of course, because it's so much about them. And at the very end, finally after us crisscrossing each other for multitudes of times, then a very cool powerhouse lady called Robin DeLisser realized we saw together that they were on stage, so we absolutely knew where they were, and they were on stage in a live podcast for their podcast with Vinnie Lingham, Maxine Ryan, Ronnie Morris, and Charlie Lee. So Robin just said, let's go and crash the party. So that's what we did. Not only did I get the signatures on this bad boy over here of Travis and Joel, but also all those crypto superstars. And right after that, it was because I was already doing an auction for Free Ross with an art piece called Silk Road. Then I wanted to donate. I knew I needed to donate this to charity to get it off my hands. It's a unique piece, and it needs to become something larger than the sum of its parts, even further. So Adam again kindly introduced me to Blake, and then pretty much we met at a pizza bar. And this amazing guy over here, he was like, "Oh, this is so cool," or whatever. And then I got to know that Nanu was already involved, and it was, there was a whole thing. And then we got to do this thing together and take it further. So now with all of these associations and what's happening over here, it already landed in Forbes, and here it is on stage with the crypto clowns, who I have a lot of love for. And where it's going next, I'm actually going to fly tomorrow to Miami to do an event with Robin at the Blockchain World Open, who will be kind enough to sign it as well as Jeremy. So we're going to keep the momentum rolling with this. And I'm then frontlining another conference called Art Decentralized. They've got a whole bunch of cool stuff going. It's sponsored by Tesla, and they're putting together a conference where the serious art collectors for the first time are coming with substantial crypto art in an event at Nikki Beach, and that's really awesome. So I don't know what's going to happen over there, but I'm certainly going to be pitching for this to be sold over there, so we get to give some money to this amazing charity and get. I've got so much respect for what these guys are doing, so it's an incredible privilege to be doing with this with you guys. Right? And next, after this, let's see, no, it didn't, there's a whole video. Can I use that one? Okay, I might have to do this without the video, but basically, come on, dude. So there should be a very amazing video here with Evolve events, with this super yacht party that starts actually for a select few collectors and kind of crypto influencers on this boat party going, I think there's going to be, sorry?
Is it on YouTube?
No, I just made this morning, unfortunately. Never mind. Thanks, though. So, I'm going to be participating in all the Evolve events, which is basically the World CryptoCon guys. And the first one is the Super Yacht thing that starts from the Cannes Film Festival and ends up in Monaco Grand Prix. And that's an incredible thing. The next one after that is the Huddle Rally with 100 supercars driving from London, ending up in Ibiza. And there's a couple of crypto conferences along the way. So it's the first ever it's kind of like Gumball, but with crypto. So that's an incredible thing. And then, of course, the 2019 World CryptoCon that is coming up. So before we find the substantial collector or collectors who are going to be really putting up a substantial amount of money for this art piece, because I think it deserves to be the most expensive crypto art piece ever sold thus far. So that's where it's going. And we're going to be holding on to it until we find those people. And as a last thing, because I met the president yesterday of Liberia. Liberland, sorry.
Yeah.
So, this is really starting to be a pain in the ass. So, we put together an idea, because the golden suit that I had in Las Vegas, which you would have seen on that video, is I want to donate that to the first ever to be made crypto art museum. And we started this conversation yesterday with a bunch of very brilliant minds, and we came up with the idea that it should be called the Liberian, but of course it should be in the first ever cryptocurrency country. So, the roadmap of this, where I think it should end, is at the Liberian that is going to be the first ever cryptocurrency museum, and those who buy it will have it in that museum sponsored by them. So not only is it birthing all of those other incredible things, but it might be the birth piece that goes to the very first museum that will help us get the credibility that we need to help really substantiate the art and invite a new level of thinking into the space for it. So that's where you find me on for artforcrypto.com.
It really is an amazing piece of work, and by helping people and by doing this and donating to charity, it not only has gotten her in Forbes magazine, and quoted and named and everything else, but it's also brought her here to Washington, D.C. and a bunch of other places. So we're really happy to have her here. Please welcome to the stage. Are we ready?
We're going to start with a video.
Okay, well let's start. Please welcome the video of Nanu Berks.
So I'm going to just flip it. While we wait, I'll just flip the art piece because I know that we're all kind of time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Love it.
So just keep this in your visual while the sound is being adjusted. This is a masculine. Okay.
Where'd you buy your money?
You can buy them
I
at
take it off full
nanuberks.com.
screen.
You can buy them at nanuberks.com. I have 3 fashion lines. Big one. Sure. You have like a. Gracias. Okay, that's gonna come up. So yeah, you can buy these online at nanuberks.com. I have 3 collections right now, 3 fashion lines. One is street art, so it's all graffiti into fine art. The other one is a limited edition Bitcoin, so there's only like 10 pieces of each. Some of them are also registered on the blockchain with NFC chips. I know it's not useful, but it's just a fun use case. So actually this piece is also registered on the blockchain. It has an NFC chip at the bottom. It's on the Ethereum platform. I have other ones on the Bitcoin platform as well. But you scan it and you can see where it was made, who bought it, materials, track the provenance, who's traded it, and so on. I'm buying this. You'll like the records. So this is a masculine side, and the other side is the feminine side, and each one has elements of both, because at conferences, and usually, I mean, just look around. It's usually very skewed, so part of my motivation is to bring more females, artists, and minorities into the space.
My name is Nanu Berks. I am a blockchain entrepreneur and I focus on the art movement, connecting creative energy to creative projects and blockchain. I thought I hated technology. I lived off the grid in the jungle, no phone, no computer. And I came back up to the picture of the economic system and all of the injustices. And once I adopted technology again, I realized I could make change from within.
A dream come true. I feel super grateful to be here, collaborating with Really Crypto to raise funds for the Hawk Foundation at the MessengerBank Founder. Thank you. I look forward to making more art installations.
The end is just, yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for bearing with us with technical difficulties. So yeah, we can flip this around if you want. I'll show you and then I can just go into it. So this is the feminine side. It represents the eye of nature, fractals, and all the different symbology. I usually embed different positive messages into them as well. So this one says wonderful life. And then usually when I make commission pieces, I will embed things that you like about your family or your world or whatever you want to put in there. So I wanted to start by saying that I'm a minority in many, many levels. We can put this back if you want. Hold it. Thank you so much. With the Bitcoin sign. Yeah, awesome. So, I am a Latino woman. I am dyslexic. I am in tech, and I'm a full-time artist. So I check all the minority boxes that you can imagine. I can go into a few more, but that's plenty. I also look white enough, and I'm a healthy young woman. So that gives me a lot of privilege, and that gives me a lot of responsibility. I have to do something with my voice. So I'm not gonna lie. I heard about Bitcoin in 2012. I was living with no technology and didn't care at all about the system because, like I said, I'm from Argentina, so I lived through the crisis of 2002, 2008, and 2009. I woke up one day as a middle-class person and my parents had no jobs, the banks had closed down and had stolen all of my family's life savings, and that can happen in the States. And so I've lived through that. And when I was 13, before making this type of art, I was walking around spray painting banks, throwing rocks through their windows and trying to steal their computers because I was so angry that they had left us with nothing. So I definitely have some skin in the game to want to change this from a right place. And I think that a lot of people see that in others and want to advocate for this. But, we have a lot of power in our hands. And so a lot of us are in a priority position right now where we can make change right now. So while I love and understand that we all want to help, I want to ask you sincerely what you're doing right now and what you're doing every day to actually make change. What you're posting on Twitter, what you're delivering to your audiences, what your content is putting out, who's supporting it. From the cereal that you eat in the morning to the brands that you co-sponsor with or that you partner up with. So, like I said, this can happen in the States, and living through this thing has allowed me to, I should go into the fact that I was nomadic for 10 years because after being completely screwed by the people who are supposed to support you, the government that's supposed to take care of you, I didn't want education, I didn't want anything. But I was thankful or grateful enough to have people who really support me, who, forced me to go to school, I got a degree, all this stuff. And I'm able to advocate from within. So after being a nomad for 10 years, I realized that the blockchain space provides a lot of similarities that the nomadic space provides. They advocate for the same thing. When I was living on the street, camping on the beaches of Peru for 2 months at a time, being a raw food chef the next week, living in a mansion, I lived a very abundant lifestyle. But I wasn't touching any money. So my economy was a gift economy, and a shared economy, and a trade economy. That's what tokenization can be. But I agree that right now there's a lot of really heavy projects that we're putting on Bitcoin's back, and a lot of the things that have been said that were very enlightening. So what we can start with is the content that's really powerful, like I said, what you share on Twitter, what your artisans are hearing. And if there's so many millionaires in the space that said that, $10,000 or $50,000 doesn't put a hole in their pocket, I suggest you put it into this piece and send it to the Hawk Foundation, because like I said, a lot of people are saying that we want to help, but I don't see the help happening at some of these conferences. So while everybody has their own projects and all the effort is appreciated, there's many ways that we can help. Everybody can put in $2,000, $3,000 and send as a donation, as a gift to the Hawk Foundation, to victims of violence at home or survivors of this abuse at home. So that's just one example. However you're helping in the world is appreciated, and we're all learning. So I hope that this is a space where we can call each other out, because that's what good friends do. They call you out to keep your ethos in check, and then we can motivate each other to become better. So that's what I hope my good friends do for me, and that's what I hope that we can do in this space as well. Other things that I'll be doing, I'll be going to Miami next week. We're going to be at Art Basel. We're going to be there with Brock and Jeremy, having this event with Vesa as well, and advocating for more decentralization through art. So the most important thing about why art can be so valuable in this space is because it helps redefine value completely. When you have a piece of art that was made at a specific time in history, as the prices of crypto go up, or as the technology expands, this art is going to continue to be more and more valuable, just based on where it was made, what it supports, and the publications that it's been in. So whoever ends up acquiring this piece, whether it's donating it to the Hawk Foundation as a gift, or having it in their office, you will always be able to track provenance and be able to have this as a piece of history. So I hope that beyond what you think of different artists in the space or who your favorite artists are, that you can try to collaborate with each other and empower one another and see how we can use the power of decentralization through art and through new campaigns. Thank you so much.
Nanu Berks. Fantastic. You can, yeah.
Sir, you.
Awesome. Fantastic work, you know. It really is awesome. So now what we're going to do is, and this will be on display this evening, starting probably 5:30 or 6 o'clock, both pieces, as well as another piece that was done by Jason. I'm not sure, maybe it was too heavy to bring over here, but that is at the Cambria right now as we speak, and that will be on display. And if anybody would like to bid on them, or pick them up, of course they are available. And so that will be at the Cambria leading up to the event, which starts at 8:30. So that's absolutely fantastic. Next up, I would like to call up a guy that I've just met and I'm really impressed with. He's going to talk about how to get your coin or how to get your token listed on a top exchange. Please welcome back to the stage, Mr. Kevin Batteh.
Okay, so I realize there are some hardcore Bitcoin maximalists here who believe, sort of like the Highlander, there can be only one, and that may well be the case at some point in time, and that's fine. But there are a lot of token projects out there, and they believe that they can take advantage of of blockchain in order to do something, for the greater good. And admittedly, a lot of these projects are bunk and they're not going anywhere. So that's the disclaimer. But a lot of these projects, I believe, are genuine and actually are going to get traction. But to be successful, you need wide distribution to sort of take advantage of the network effects that blockchain kind of requires. You need a lot of people to have access to your token if your project's going to be successful. So what does that mean? You need a secondary market for your token. And some people have tried different methods of distributing their token to the people who are going to be using your application, your blockchain. But at the end of the day, having a secondary market like an exchange is kind of critical. So that's created this massive demand for token projects to get listed on exchanges. And there are exchanges all around the world. Some of them are based here in the United States. Those are the ones that I primarily work with. But there are exchanges in other jurisdictions. Some exchanges make it really straightforward. Pay us a bunch of money and we'll list your token. That's, I guess, okay. People can do what they want to do with their companies. But listings on tokens that actually vet listings on exchanges that actually vet their tokens, typically, for quality and for the actual, sort of, whether it be regulatory considerations or just actual functionality, typically have more appeal to, that secondary market. So we try to work with exchanges that don't have listing fees and that actually vet for substance the underlying project. And we've been quite successful and worked with a number of exchanges and token projects. One of the exchanges that I've worked closely with over the years is Bittrex. And it's because they were a client of mine when they sort of first started out. There was 3 founders and 1 customer support person and nobody else. And now they're, hundreds of people and lots of volume. And so we would vet projects. And, Bill Shahar, the CEO of Bittrex, genuinely believed in the exchange as an incubator for projects. So I'm just going to try to tell you what we did when we first started off vetting tokens and sort of how they look at projects now. Bittrex doesn't charge a listing fee, and this applies to a number of other exchanges. I'm just using them as an example. Bittrex doesn't charge a listing fee. A few years ago, they would charge around $5,000 to defray their cost of a legal review. But they don't do that anymore either. And the legal review costs a lot more than $5,000. This is just sort of a... So, first and foremost, does it make sense that you're using blockchain or a token? Or is this just a business idea and you slapped the word blockchain on it because you think you can, it's sexy or you can raise more money or something like that? So that's kind of a basic consideration. But then, is this a unique project? Is this a project that actually doesn't already exist? Is this a use that someone else hasn't already come up with? Or is this just a clone? Is this, a fork and there's no other difference other, maybe beside the name? And you'd be surprised. I mean, there's a lot of copycats out there. And it's really easy. I mean, it's easy to create an ERC20 token. It doesn't, I'm a lawyer. I could probably figure it out if I really tried. So what is the use and how does it work? Of course, you have to have code that works. And the one thing I'll say about the guys at Bittrex, they're all former IT security guys. They, grew up with this stuff and they genuinely look at the code. Sometimes they find problems with it, but they like the project and they go back to the team and say, hey guys, you need to fix this. And they'll work with the team to do that. But if your code's crap, then that's probably not going to help you get listed. They want to know who the team is behind the token. Is it somebody that can credibly execute on the project? Now, this has changed a bit over time and we're going to talk about regulation in a minute, but, early at launch, is the team behind it credible? The common sense, we all know, there's just tons of fraud and sort of money grab type schemes out there. And so that's kind of, a big part of the vetting process as well. And then finally, it's the regulatory piece. And this is where a lot of people trip. The gentleman from the bank that just spoke, a few people before me, he said, hey, it's, a utility token is a security, they did not see it. Well, probably true for like the vast majority of these things. And a lot of what we do, and we're working with projects or considering working with projects, is look at them from a regulatory standpoint. But it's true. Is it a security? Is this thing going to be deemed a security? If it is, then it's absolutely not going to get listed on a U.S. spot digital asset exchange. Because the regulatory liability, potential liability, of getting sued by the SEC is just not worth it. You're one project. They've got an ongoing business. They list your token, the SEC shuts them down, it's not worth it. So, and then that's a whole big consideration. So let's just say your project was, you raised money yourself, you didn't, crowdsource your funding through a token that's, security. You built the project, you have a token that's your sort of in-app currency, and you've worked with a law firm or whoever, and you're pretty confident that it's not a security. But then you go and market it in a way that makes it sound like a security. You go and talk to people about how, on your website or your media, how it's gonna moon, that kind of stuff. You can take what's not a security and make it a security, at least in terms at least from the perspective of the SEC. And if you I don't know if you follow this stuff, but the Munchie case is one of the SEC enforcement cases against a token project, and they said, hey, even if this thing wasn't a security, the marketing they did after the fact makes it a security, because it gives a purchaser the expectation of profits from holding the token. So there are things that you can do, or that can make your project a security or your token a security. And if those things are present, then you're going to reduce or eliminate the likelihood of getting listed on an exchange. And so one of the things that we do, and this is not a commercial, but we help people navigate all of those issues. When they're thinking about trying to get listed on an exchange. Now, let's just say you cross, you check all those boxes and you're good. Then there's other considerations, because at the end of the day, exchanges like Bittrex get 6,000 applications for every 10 or so they list, just because there's so much demand. So they're also looking at things like just is this a cool project? Is there a big community, a lot of interest in it? If it's already out there trading on some other smaller markets, how robustly is, at the end of the day, it's a business. They want to list tokens. They're going to have volume that get traded. So those are also things that you need to think about. I'll stop for a second. I don't want to talk too long. I know we have our hackathon coming, our pitch contest coming up, but I'll just take maybe 2 questions, 3 questions, and then hand it off. Yes, sir.
Yeah, what I want to find out is, how do you guys get paid?
So yeah, great question. So Bittrex does not take a listing fee. I'm not part of Bittrex, so I would take a fee, so a success fee. You hire us and we, get you in shape to get. So what we do, basically, we don't guarantee listing. We say, if you work with us, we're going to present you in the best possible light. We're going to go through all of your stuff and make sure that it's good, and present the best possible application and give you the highest likelihood or chance of being successfully listed. And if we're successful, then you pay us, and if we're not successful, then you don't.
How about pay you on tokens?
Happy to have a conversation with you, one-on-one about the nitty-gritty. But yeah. Any other questions?
Right here.
Yes, sir.
Is volume a consideration, and do you require market making?
So again, I'm talking. So in general, well, let's just take specifically Bittrex. They don't require market making, and volume is like a double-edged sword. So, and this goes for any exchange. There's in markets in general, the concept of liquidity begets liquidity. Everybody wants to be where there's liquidity. If you've not been listed on any exchanges, you either want to be trading pretty well on a really small exchange, or maybe even not trading. If you've already been listed on another major market, all the volume's there, then some other major exchanges they're already trading in big volume over some other platform. So maybe they'll list you, but the likelihood is all that volume is just going to stay there, because people want to trade where everybody else is trading. So in some ways, volume can hurt you, but you're already listed, so you don't care. Or you want to be just maybe on a few smaller exchanges, and so they can see there's a community and there's interest in the actual project. That's what they really want to see, is interest in the project. So you don't have to have big dollar volume. You just have to say, hey, look, I've got a big Telegram community. It's active. People are here genuinely, out of genuine interest for the project, as opposed to speculating that it's going to get listed and go up. Yeah. Thanks. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you afterwards. Yeah, I'll talk to you
Kevin Batteh. I tried to turn it up earlier and I messed up. Okay, man, it was awesome. Thanks. It was awesome. And he is a Washingtonian here, so you can leave it up if you want, or take. Yeah, sure. Yeah. You need help? Okay. He throws around that multiple $10,000 piece of artwork like it's nothing.
$2 million. $2 million, right?
$2 million. It's not fragile. It's not fragile. Well, that's good. I don't know if you guys saw the video of us in Vegas. We put it up upside down, and we turned it over at the beginning, and we thought we had it right, and then we put it up, and we're like, oh man, Blake was there. Blake is actually going to be one of the judges as well as the pitch competition, which is coming up. Just another couple of speakers. We have now Nick Saponaro. Did I say that right?
Saponaro.
Saponaro. He is the lead developer of the Divi project. He has a great publicist that works really well for him, and seems like an all-around great guy. And here he is. Please welcome to the stage, Nick.
Thank you.
You have a clicker?
We need it. Okay. Hi, my name is Nick Saponaro. I'm the lead full-stack developer and co-founder of the Divi project, which is a cryptocurrency project that is dedicated to making cryptocurrency accessible, easy, and fun to use from an earnings and transactional standpoint. We launched our main network on September 27th this year, and from that date we have added, or users have added I should say, just about 530 masternodes to our ecosystem. We created the first truly one-click cloud deployment process for masternodes, which makes it as easy as pressing play on Spotify to deploy masternode. But there was a time where we felt we might not deploy even one masternode. And I want to talk to you guys about my experience in this industry and how basically I went from getting death threats in my DM to people messaging me saying, thank you for changing my life. So we started our token sale mid last year amongst a pretty fatigued ICO market. We were the number 8 ICO in the world at the time, but we only raised like $3 million in our ICO. So that gives you kind of a vision of how the market was at that time. We did a traditional, ERC20 token sale, and also at that time there were forks happening on Bitcoin and forks happening on Ethereum that were slowing down the network and speeding up the network and just really challenging. But we continued to press on, and we got through our token sale, and we raised enough money, the amount of money that we were hoping to raise to start building our project. And that's what we did. Right away we started looking for developers who would work on this project with us. At that time the market was booming, right? So it was pretty difficult to actually find developers who weren't already working on projects. And we needed a good team for this. So our CTO, who was ex-Microsoft, tapped into his network, and we found this development group who claimed that they were blockchain experts, which we later found out was not the case, but we started working with them, and at first it was okay. It seemed like everything was going fine, but over time it's like they stopped cooperating with us. They hired their own product manager at one point who didn't even like crypto. Like, he's against crypto and he didn't want it, and he's managing the product. Now, this wasn't working for us, but we didn't have much of a choice, so we kept pushing on. Ran a beta test, it did not go well at all, okay? So bad that some of the beta testers actually went into our main channel and were dropping FUD and saying, this is a shit show, get out, And so, our price starts to go down. Then the SEC said that all ERC20 tokens are securities. Shit! So we had to retroactively do KYC AML and make sure we did not offer the tokens to US investors. But back when we started our ICO, all you had to do was say, block the IPs. Now we have to go back and we have to find all these people, and so we made it so that you couldn't transition your exchange token for the mainnet token unless you went through KYC ML. Fine. Prices continue to dive because no one wants to do KYC. It's crypto. It's supposed to be anonymous, right? So, whatever. We continue to press on. We're coming to the time when we need to launch our mainnet. And the developers are still kind of not giving us what we need, but they assured us that it's being tested and it's really solid and it's ready to go. So on June 25th of 2018, I had flown to New York actually 2 days before. I was going to be on the New York Stock Exchange the day after we launched on Cheddar to promote the launch. On June 25th, it was supposed to be our launch date. We put the technology out there. People are staying up like till 3 a.m. We have a global community, so it's the middle of the night for some people. They download the software, they open up the app. Doesn't fucking work. It just doesn't work. People are, I mean, the amount of DMs that I started to receive, it was like killing my phone. So, okay, we'll pull back, we'll fix these little issues, and we'll try again tomorrow. We're gonna launch again tomorrow. We'll tell the community, everybody goes to bed, okay. We do it again tomorrow, lo and behold, it still doesn't work. Okay, I still went on Cheddar, and it was a fun time. I still did all that media that week, but in the back of my head, I'm like, what am I doing here? So we say, we're gonna try again a week from now. There's a few minor things that we just need to work out, whatever. And the developers, they go and they do their thing, and the week comes, the end of the week comes, and, well, I'll let you guess how it went. It did not work again. So we knew we had to go back to the drawing board. We knew that we could make excuses and blame ourselves, but really the issue was we were mismanaging the project. We didn't have full control over our own project. We have people on our team that are veterans in the tech industry that lived through the dot-bomb. We know how to build products, and we really believed that what we were building mattered, and our community really would be enriched by this software. So we fire that team. We go into hiring mode again. We get as many excellent coders as we can on our team. I started managing the product with my process, with our process, and within 3 months, we scrapped all of that code. None of the code that those other developers used or wrote is now in use today. We scrapped it all, and within 3 months, on September 27th, we launched again, and it worked successfully, and we've been adding masternodes to our network ever since. We're doing bi-weekly updates to our software, adding ease of use features. We'll be adding a mobile application at the beginning of the year, and it's going really well. And I've had all of those DMs that I was receiving when we had failed the first 3 times changed. All the death threats that were coming in changed. People said, dude, you changed my life. I can't believe you guys did it. I can't believe you guys made it out. Belief is so much stronger than I think we even can fathom. And so when I see Bloomberg or Forbes or CNBC, and I see these guys getting on there talking crap on Bitcoin or on cryptocurrency, it's going to zero. It's a scam. It's a Ponzi scheme. Bullshit, dude. No, it's not. There are hundreds of thousands of developers working on amazing technologies every single day. There are millions of people using Bitcoin, using other cryptocurrencies, masternodes, mining. All of these things are incredibly revolutionary. So it's not going anywhere, as long as we believe. We all believe in cryptocurrency in this room? We got any speculators in here? Few? Cool. So we're good. I really, thank you.
Whoa, cool. Nick Saponaro. Saponaro, great job, man. It's funny, the work that he's been doing and putting that together, and I know kind of, I don't know if saving the project is the best words, but really making it happen. I know exactly how that is, so, hats off to you. That's the work that really, that's what it takes. And that's why, one of the reasons why Litecoin is such a big success is, of course, they have Charlie Lee, and they also have John Kim and John Moore and all these guys. I'll tell you this, I don't ever want to throw another conference without John Kim saying he's going to be there. Because that guy, he was some wind beneath our sails as we went in. I mean, the guy was like a force of nature. Hats off to the Litecoin Foundation and to John Kim and John Moore for coming out here, and Charlie Lee. Really appreciate it. And it was totally huge. What a personality. He's been out down there at Cambria doing his arm wrestling matches and everything else. I see him on Twitter as it goes on. So we have one more speaker, and he's a friend of mine. He's a really, really great guy. And then we're going to do a little art panel, and then we have our pitch competition. But I can't say enough great things about the guy. I met him in Vegas about a month ago, and I know I said it a couple of times on stage, but I'm standing there and I'm looking at him, and he's talking and talking and talking, and I thought, gosh, wait a minute, this guy's crazy. And then I look at him and he's talking, I'm like, well, wait a minute, he's crazy, but he's really smart. and it was right, of course. He's really smart, his brain is operating on a higher level than a lot of people, and he's able to focus. And that's one of the things, going around the world, and if you Google it up, there's not so many videos on there, but there are some videos of me and my wife and some other people performing around the world ice dancing. And what you learn in situations like that, and I see it with my daughter now, is how to focus and to be in the moment. And you might have just flown and you didn't sleep and there was only 6 hours to sleep or whatever, and there's no good food that you like and everything else, and you just go out there, and maybe we were doing it and we're paying for everything in the last few years, and so we're running different promotions, so we have some models doing this and doing that. And I can remember one time in Riga, and we were running 3 different promotions in 3 different cities, and I got to go out and practice and we can't sleep. And to be able to put it all behind and focus and go out there and perform and be proud of the performance that you put out. And that is what this guy is able to do, and he's able to focus. And so I said, come, after we went to the Washington Elite event in Lake Placid, I said, definitely come in early, come into the Washington Elite Summit. He says, okay, I'll come in on the 24th. I go, no, that's not soon enough, you have to come in earlier. And then anyway, whenever he came in, I think it was actually ended up being the 25th. I have to go back and forth and talk about every single thing with and trust his opinion. Please welcome to the stage my main man, Mr. Robin Matthes.
We've niched down mass adoption into retailer adoption and use cases. And since I'm the director of charity, I will be talking more about our charity use cases. So for starters, I have this initiative I'm running where it's called the Community Chosen Charitable Cause, where the community submits their favorite charity. Then we have this whole list with charities submitted by the community, and then they start voting on it. And every 1 to 2 weeks, we select the most voted on and we start funding them. We're funding a couple of charities like Children with Cancer in Venezuela and an orphanage in India. But our main use case is saving Venezuelan refugees. And because Venezuela is under having an embargo from the US government, me as a staff member cannot promote anything in Venezuela. And that's why we chose to do our project right over the border in Cucuta, Colombia. And to kind of give you guys an illustration on the scenario there, we're going to play a video. Michael is getting everything ready now. He's my right-hand man. Is there any sound, perhaps? No, but it's fine. You see here, the refugees struggling and trying to cross the border from all sides. We're going to have some drone footage coming up where you can get a really clear picture, because there is this huge bridge where refugees cross, and there's 50,000 refugees that cross there on kind of a daily basis. But the situation all in all is horrible. So what we do is we airdrop $5 worth of Bitcoin directly to these refugees, so that they can then go to a street merchant whom we have provided with tablets to accept these coins, so they can buy essential goods and medicine. And the video of the bridge should be on there soon, though. It's because Venezuela is hyperinflating. Their currency is worth less than monopoly money. They're making bags of the money, actually. This is the drone going up. This is our own footage. In the distance, you're going to see the bridge right there. We're going to zoom in on it and oh, shit. Thank you. play it on the other laptop as well, see if it... It was just about to get to the good part. Yeah, so let's just keep talking. You're completely right. Essentially, these refugees received the airdrops like I just said, but instead of only providing the refugees with fish, we also, well, the hypothetical fish, we also want to teach them how to fish. And that's why we have been looking into, like us together with our partners, Crypto Conserve, have been looking into highly proliferating superfoods. And we stumbled upon this research in, I think it was the Middle East, where they are growing mushrooms at a rapid rate. And the beautiful thing is, within 25 days, these mushrooms have grown to like a significant size where they're able to feed entire families. And mushrooms have the protein equivalent of a steak. They're also very high on dietary fibers and minerals. So it's a very good replacement for the staple foods that are currently being provided with. Yeah, it kind of sucks that the video is not working.
More than a steak, huh?
It's called the bridge too far. The bridge too far.
More than
We're just getting to the bridge.
More than a steak, man?
More
protein than a steak?
No, it's a protein equivalent of the steak.
I like my red meat, man.
Oh, do you guys have any questions?
Do the mushrooms make you hallucinate?
No, they do not. They're purely meant to feed refugees.
Okay.
Anyone else?
So different than college.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, I was thinking back in college. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a network of drone operators to do this type of thing?
No, we rented the drone. We have a network of people on the ground in Cucuta, Colombia, who are busy with the project on a daily basis. We also have this initiative where people who sponsor the project get thanked by the groups of refugees they sponsor. It's also in the video, but it's not working. So does anyone else have a question?
How long do they take to grow?
About 25 days. And we're also going to provide the refugees with about 1 kilo of mushrooms so they can feed off of it until they have grown their results. They'll also get a workshop on how, there's the bridge. They'll also get a workshop on how to grow mushrooms. They'll be provided with a booklet on like the different things you need to take care of, how to prevent diseases, how to prepare them. So it's kind of, the plan is really gaining some traction already. We've passed the alpha stage where we were planning on saving 100 refugees initially, just to test everything, and we have far past that. But there's refugees in abundance, as you can see. This is the bridge I was talking about. That's just complete. Those are refugees thanking me. But the bridge is really full of people. It's kind of hard to describe without the video. Does anyone else have a question, perhaps? We'll just play the video later when it's working again. So yeah.
Okay. What's the name again?
We're looking for the YouTube.
My name?
No.
Video.
Oh, the video. It's a drone video I just uploaded. We just made it for this presentation. I'm going to present. So who's the next speaker?
Next speaker is Rami. Rami with the military token. Hey.
Oh, look, I think it's working.
Is it working?
Yeah, look, that's the merchant. That's where the refugees are paying with their paper wallets. It's stuck again. Perfect. To buy essential goods and medicines from these street merchants. And we kind of have a fair adoption rate already. Because, look, that's the refugees thanking the people I was talking about. This is CryptoPD, one of our PEC investors. These are a bunch of children we were sponsoring water at schools, and these were refugees that are thanking me personally, Rob and Matthes.
Good? All right, give him a hand, folks. Robin Matthes. There were some technical difficulties there. I was going back to the skating thing just because I just talked about it. I've been somewhere else, I don't remember where exactly, and we get out there and we skate, and I fell like 4 times, I think, 3 times. And I know, but it's not working. Hello? Oh, there we go. And my coach looked at me after I fell 3 times and said, sometimes it's like that, mate. Yeah, sometimes it's like that. So I think this is one of the first times that Mr. Pac-Man here, Robin Matthes, has been up on stage, and sometimes it's like that. Okay, so great job, great job. Next up, we have the military token. As you guys know, and as has been a common theme with this thing, you know it's Global Boost. I'm always trying to take care of the wounded veterans. These guys are doing the same thing. Ronald Ramirez, he has an impressive background. I'll let him tell you all about it. And he has his military token. Stage is yours.
Hi, everyone. You guys hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Great. I'm Remy Ramirez. I'm the Executive Vice President of Security. Homeless. We found that veterans actually do very well in entrepreneurship. They're 45% more likely to be self-employed and account for 10% of all small businesses in the U.S. Veteran-owned businesses alone account for $1.14 trillion a year in revenue in the United States. No one has ever tried to unite all those vendors and put them on one platform and try to get them to create their own ecosystem of services and products that anyone can go in and use and buy. You can pay with PayPal, you can pay with a credit card, or if you'd like, you can use military token, or MILS for short. If you guys get a chance, check out militarytoken.io and Vet Store USA, and thank you everyone for your time.
All right, Robbie Ramirez, thank you very much. And definitely support the military token, guys. It's they have, obviously, it's the network and it's the group that comes together that really makes it all happen. So we have just made a bit of an executive decision to forego the charity panel. Everybody has been up on stage a few times. So we're going to go ahead right to the pitch competition. We'll keep things on time. So we'll set up the stage here. We're going to bring up a table, and we'll get our judges up here, and we'll get going.
Connect to the Wi-Fi. Is the Wi-Fi not working for me?
Yeah, it's working.
It's working for me too.
While we get this set up, I want to welcome to the stage a friend of mine, Kevin Soltani. We met in Dubai. He's a very professional guy. We were on stage together at the World Blockchain Summit, and then he threw a VIP pitch contest meetup, and it was absolutely fantastic. I was able to meet Martin Levy there, Levy, and a few other people. The president Vic was there as well, as a bunch of other big names. So welcome to the stage. He is also going to be the host of the pitch contest. So it'll be absolutely fantastic. But he's going to say some words and share his knowledge with us. Give him a hand. Thank you, sir.
So, as Bruce mentioned, I'll be hosting, emceeing the competition. Should be a fun one. This is something that we do as a company, my company, Jima Group. We have offices in LA, Amsterdam, and Dubai. And what we do is we don't call ourselves middlemen. We growth partner with you. We found over $10 million in funding just in the last 2 months. For startups, doesn't sound like a lot, but they're direct cash injection for equity or revenue or debt consolidation. Conversion, I'm sorry. So we actually have found money for people and doing great things for their startups. We don't talk the talk, we walk the walk, and we actually make our investors put up or shut up. So that's something that the startups need directly into their companies, so we do the same. My passion is in smart cities and in the future of mining. I say future because I've been in it since 2011. I coded my first rigs, I built them, and we became the first Southern California company in 2011 to deliver customized mining rigs. So we opened up a trading desk in Hong Kong and Singapore, and now we're advisors and growth partners, like I mentioned, in Dubai mainly, and with offices, like I said, in Amsterdam and California. We love what we do, just like everybody in this room. It's a very passionate room for whatever it is, and it's a very amazing kind of opportunity to see where that passion's going to lead. So you see people talking the way they do with very opinionated opinions, and I think that's a good thing to have in an industry that's still a baby. I had a conversation earlier with the Wild West Crypto Show guys, and I'm sure some of us have as well. And what I mentioned to them and what I said, and I'll say now directly, is that I personally believe there's no competition in crypto and blockchain unless you're going to infringe on someone's IP or patents. Obviously, that's a big problem, but there is no stepping on anybody's toe. There is no competition, and if you're going to think that way, then the door's right there, because I believe everybody that's in this, as long as I have been in 2011, that was at our event in Dubai. We threw an investor event that we helped the startups at that event raise over $3 million in capital. There was $9 billion in AUM on the other side of the table from investors. We also do strategic partnerships. We go through, in the next 6 months, we'll be in 17 other countries at events like this and others around the world. We throw our own events and workshops, and for that reason, we'll be choosing a winner as well to give $5,000 into their company to use in those 3 levels that I just said. So without further ado, are we ready to go, guys? Are we ready to go? Yeah? We're ready? Okay. So, put your hands together, please. We're going to have 8 startups, and I will be introducing Mr. Andrew Prell from Convergence to take the stage as startup number 1.
All right, for those who are just joining us that weren't here for my other talks, I'm Andrew Prell with Convergence. We are introducing the Silicon Nexus project, which is a cross-reality virtual universe with a blockchain backbone to secure the digital assets for the players, something very needed in video games. We are reimagining the whole entertainment space. When I said redemption tickets, which each one of those redemption tickets is actually money, they're buying a prize at that point. So by combining this, it's a win-win for everybody, and that's where we'll make our initial funding building out this cross-reality virtual universe. We have an all-star team that you can trace our lineage back to the original Atari, Nintendo, Namco, Sega, the guys that created the Xbox, the guys that created Disney Quest. Basically, you will not find a stronger team than this. I've written articles on how we are deploying our tokens through our investment funds. I've gamified VC through our tokens, and they are token-based investment funds, which, as I did talk earlier, the virtuous circle of a token-based investment fund is a far more powerful way to invest into an ecosystem like ours. And we've divided up our tokens where 38% is for the players, 37% is for investing in the content into the companies in our ecosystem, and basically 25% is what we use to grease the wheels to get the engine rolling. The only way that you get our tokens is to play the game, to build the games, to support the ecosystem, or from somebody who has. So it's a true utility token there. This is the redemption robot. Again, that is where we will initially make money. We're going to do a test in Singapore with one of the largest family entertainment center conglomerates in the world, that once we clear that test, they will help roll us out in 2019 to over 5,000 family entertainment centers. Once we seed those towns, stage 2 is we drive those players back to the family entertainment centers through our Sarah app, which is Pokemon Go with a purpose. And basically we can give them the rewards that incentivize them to go anywhere that we need to. So the rollout plan again is the investment funds, the redemption robot, and Sarah. And then we'll get into hard coding the cross-reality virtual universe games. We have cross-reality crypto clubs to advance our user base. We already have our annual conference, and this is how you get involved. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. You're good. Actually, you're allowed a 2-minute Q&A.
Oh, Q&A.
If we have any Q&A.
Yes. We have Q&A. Is it audience Q&A or judges?
It's audience or judges, but we're going to introduce our judges, Kevin Batteh and Blake Rizzo, and Tyler Atkinson. And Mr. Tyler Atkinson.
Awesome.
Judges, any questions?
Can you explain the redemption robot?
Okay, are you familiar with family entertainment centers, how they exchange tickets for prizes?
Yes.
Okay, the redemption robot, they're exchanging tickets for non-fungible tokens. They go in, they select what they want. It comes up and says this is 2,500 tickets or 500 droids. They hit purchase. QR code comes up, they'll scan it with the phone, it will give them the wallet, and then once we have the wallet, which will have their address, it'll send them the tokens.
So, and this might be oversimplification, but is this essentially like a very fancy Chuck E. Cheese with and your utility token is the token to play the VR, play these new games?
Yes.
Which is a great, whenever I talk about utility tokens, the example I always use is a Chuck E. Cheese token. Like.
Exactly.
Okay. Got it. Any other questions?
We're good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think it might be a good thing that the answer all
Not bad, not bad. Next to stage, Mr. Martin Levy, please. So I actually know a little bit about a lot of these projects without becoming biased and telling you about which ones I know and which ones are good or bad, because I've actually met some of these projects in Dubai and Amsterdam just in the last month and a half. And so some amazing stuff coming, and we're good to go. Mr. Levy, please, Tato.
Thank you. My name is Martin Levy, and I'm a co-founder of Tato. Tato has built a distributed supercomputer that AI companies use to train their models. And we sell that compute to those AI companies for a fraction of what they pay to the traditional compute providers. And we're able to do that because we leverage distributed GPUs sitting in crypto mines. And we pay the miners double what they earn mining crypto. We exist to accelerate innovation in the AI space. We exist to make smart cities smarter, autonomous vehicles more autonomous and more clever, and of course, digital humans more personal. Our vision is a world where the cost of compute is no longer a barrier to innovation. Right now, computational demand is outstripping supply. So AI companies are facing staggering growth requirements in their compute. The amount of compute that these AI companies use is doubling every 3.5 months, and their costs are going up accordingly. They're buying their compute from traditional compute suppliers, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and the likes, and IBM, and they're paying extreme prices. The big compute providers use price as a lever to control usage, so they constrain innovation by keeping the prices high. At the same time as this staggering growth has happened in artificial intelligence, which permeates all areas, you've seen tremendous growth in the deployment of crypto mines from investors and crypto miners. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars have been deployed to mine cryptos using GPU computers. Since the highs of January this year, the price of crypto has plummeted, as we know, and most of those crypto miners now are facing an economic dilemma. They're not even breaking even on a monthly cash flow basis. So crypto miners are faced with a dilemma: do I turn off my mine and go home, or is there another thing that I can do to earn some revenue? And in comes Tato, and what we're doing is unlocking non-traditional sources of computation. So we are making available and accessing to the crypto mines as part of our distributed supercomputer. This increases supply, okay, makes much more computing supply more available. It breathes new economic life into crypto mining assets. Imagine being able to earn twice what you can earn mining crypto by providing your compute resources to a much more productive use. And all of this accelerates innovation in AI. So here's an example of our economic model. We've built a platform and we sell compute. So our customers come online and they will have looked at Amazon to see the typical compute. It might be $10,000 compute job on Amazon. We'll sell that job to them for $5,000. And then in turn we'll pay the mining resource that would be used for that compute double what they earn for the same resource mining crypto. This leaves a substantial cash margin in the middle. So our business is a cash flow business. We take fiat in, US dollars in, and we have a token that runs through the platform as the exclusive economic unit, which does the divvying up, it does the validation, it does the payments to the suppliers who are also paid in our tokens. So we have a top-down and bottom-up demand for the tokens. And you'll see, in fact, that for every compute we sell, we make a substantial margin, and the margin is such that we actually have enough room for margin squeeze, from a top-down margin squeeze if the large compute providers drop their prices, or bottom-up if and when the crypto price accelerates. With a very experienced team full of force-multiplying, forward-moving, execution-driven executives. Many of us have had one or more technology exits. I'll highlight our CEO, Andrew Fraser, on the left there, 10 years at McKinsey, 2 years as head of strategy at New Zealand's largest energy company, and also has been a miner for uranium in Ethiopia. Myself, I'm a former banking and finance lawyer. I've had a telecommunications and technology background as well. Running on time.
We are. Okay. We got to catch you up.
Okay, I'll just jump there. We're raising $11 million in a token and equity deal for around 15% of the business. Thank you.
Thanks, Martin. Sorry to catch you up. We got to get All right, so it looks like you're trying to value the margin of the business model, right? So is it reducing like kilowatt per hour, or is it a hardware play? I'm kind of confused on exactly.
So we're a platform, we're a middleware platform, and we're a supercomputer. We don't own any of the infrastructure, and we have the GPUs integrated into our platform. We've signed supplier contracts with existing miners for over 20,000 GPUs. They plugged into our platform, and then we have our early stage customers that we're working with off our MVP, and they use our compute. They come onto our platform and buy compute, and we farm it out to the GPUs. Correct, yeah.
And then use of proceeds?
The use of proceeds, so the $11 million, roughly half goes into accelerated development. We have our full commercial release of our product due in June, so half of it will go into that, and the other half goes into customer acquisition and marketing, and we have a plan that gets us to cash flow break even by the end of next year, with several hundred customers spending $10,000 to $20,000 a month each.
Are there letters of intent on that?
In terms of customers, we've signed up 2 customers, which we've announced. We've worked with them from the very beginning to make sure our product is right from an AI model training perspective. And we have suppliers signed up, and we're about a third of the way through our funding round.
That was my question. The charity-based initiatives that you will be looking at.
Sorry?
Charity-based initiatives.
There are a bunch of other entities doing charity-based initiatives. We're exclusively focused on the enterprise market. We want to be a venture capital backed business.
The economy, the token itself, is it going to have a fixed value based on a certain amount of processing power, or the value of the float? Is it going to be traded on a secondary market?
So the plan is obviously to list the token, and it needs to be listed to enable the platform to work. When the customer comes on and credits their account with us at $5,000 US, then an API, and that says underneath, X number of tokens, and that's the amount of tokens relating to the token price at the time.
The value
locked. The value floats, yeah.
But the price of the
Computers priced in US dollars, as it needs to be benchmarked against our competitors.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tato. Next, we have Davis P Fund. Unless that was a typo, Davis Fund or P? Davis Fund. Welcome to the stage, Davis Fund.
And Jordan Seconds.
They're with Matthes Creative. They are the sponsors, one of the sponsors of the after party this evening, along with KT Technology.
Thank you. So my name is Davis Fund. This is Jordan Seres, and we're just going to tell you a little bit about Matthes Creative and what we are. So our mission, first and foremost, is to connect and to inspire a purpose-driven, meta-driven community to live more sustainably. And the main problem that we're facing here, I don't know if this is working, but can you go to the next slide, please? So yeah, there's two main problems. First problem is that we're all connected we're all connected virtually, but I found that we're all disconnected personally. 25% of Americans reported having 0 close friends. Loneliness has been found to actually be more detrimental to the lifespan of a human than smoking 15 cigarettes a day or being obese, which is already a national crisis. So loneliness is a very big problem. The second problem is that the Earth is under a great amount of stress. I don't think I have to go more in depth about that. Could you go to the next slide, please? I'll give you a sign every time. I don't know if this is working. So our solution is hosting in-person experiences. We use collaborative arts as a way to inspire sustainability. And the best way to get anybody to do anything is to make them want to do it. So we make sustainability fun, easy, and cool for the world's largest generation, which is millennials. But it's not just limited to millennials. All different types of people come to our events. But it's really about collaborative arts and working together on something that involves both hemispheres of the brain. So Meda is a Pali word. It means loving kindness and benevolence. And we've always donated 15% of our profits to environmental organizations or local nonprofits. It started our first motto, which is party with purpose. For millennials, things have to be fun, it has to be exciting, and we want to give back, but a lot of millennials just don't know how to give back. So we do our homework to make sure the organizations we're supporting are sustainable and meet those standards. And I'm going to let Jordan talk about our utility token.
Hello everybody, yeah, so right now our ERC20 token called Meta token is an Ethereum-based cryptocurrency that incentivizes people to participate in our events. You can earn our Meta token by attending our workshops, our sustainability bounties, our artistic collaborations, or any other events that we throw. Meta token will eventually be used on a platform that you can buy discounted tickets to our events. You can purchase special experiences, VIP, whatever you might want to call it, experiences. You can also gift it from person to person, from vendor to person, or from just one party to another party at our events. We've already been fairly successful with this at our first event, Beauty in the Backyard. We were giving away quite a lot of tokens, and a lot of people claimed wallets, and we had trades going on. It was nice. So that's about it. Eventually, we're going to move to an exchange-traded token called MetaCoin rather than MetaToken. And if you'd like to learn more about that, you can find out more later or go to our website.
Awesome. Thank you. Judges.
Yeah, I just want to finish up. There's just one more slide.
We got to.
Okay, well, come to the after party tonight at the Cambria, starting at 8:30 till 11:30. Live music, dancing, all that sort of stuff. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Judges.
Thank you, everybody.
Guys, real quick.
I love that you give 50% of the profits to charity, but how do you generate the profits?
So most of our money is made from ticket sales. We've made a lot of money from vendors. We've made a lot of money from sponsors. And sometimes whatever the venue is, we'll split, like if it's a bar, for example, we'll do a split of drinks or something like that for bringing people in the door. We're competing with phones, okay? There's a lot of empty venues out there. So that's one way to lean startup venue.
So you're bringing customers to the venue.
Right, that's one way. The majority of just is tickets. So finding venues that share our values, places like in Camp Rebelwood, we've just had our big first festival. We actually had 22 events in the past 2 years. He was just talking about our first festival that actually utilized the token. So we've now had 2 events that have utilized the token, and we've rewarded people for different bounties. It's sustainability, creativity, that's what.
So you pay for the event, you earn a token. Buy a ticket.
Right, so when you buy a ticket, you get gifted a token. It's an internal
How do you guys go about vetting the charities that you collaborate with?
That's a great question. We use college minds. College students are a valuable resource and have a lot of time and that want to actually get involved in things. And so we're a registered benefit corporation, which is like Tom's Shoes. So, you know, percentage of the profit or percentage of the earnings goes towards a public benefit. We've always chosen environmental nonprofits because we care about the environment so much. And so we do our own homework, and we've been doing that because that's kind of what we live and breathe.
And are the charities paid with your token, or are they paid fiat?
No, they're just paid fiat.
Although in the future, there's no reason why we couldn't start giving our token to spread the love.
I was wondering about the proof of location concept of like for events. How can you verify people are actually there and not manipulating GPS or anything like that?
Yeah, sure. So there's many ideas we have for that. Some sort of perhaps RFID wristband, perhaps some sort of app that goes with our token, our platform, so that we can verify GPS locations. So that I guess you could spoof that. But our idea is because we're so based on community, we don't even anticipate. I mean, right now we're a startup. This is all going to happen in the future. There's not really any hacking that's going to happen right now. It's a good thought to try to prevent, you know, GPS spoofing or anything like that. But we just, I guess the real answer is we haven't anticipated those problems yet. And when we do get there, it'll be some sort of RFID application so we can verify. Thank you. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, just wondering.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you guys. Put your hands
Thank you.
together.
Come to the after party.
Come to the after party. Next on stage, Coin Genius. Coin Genius.
My name is Christina Brujon. I'm from Coin Genius. I'm here representing the team Coin Genius powered by Genius 15. Can we pull up? He's working on it. So while he's getting the slide going, I'll tell you a little bit about what we're doing. We are not a token. We are a data and AI company. So what we do is we take really, really, really big clouds of data and we squeeze it through AI and neural networks, and I'm happy to talk to everybody about that. And then we get data out of that. So the first application of that process, we wanted to tackle the crypto trading industry as one use case. I mean, this is basically anything with an asset of value and has an exchange or a marketplace behind it. This is applicable to all of those. So real estate and pharma and any other industry, oil and gas. And there's a ton of things. If you want transparency, you can do this by squeezing AI and getting information about your community, of basically an ear out to the world of the things that really make a difference. So we are Genius 15, that is the intelligence engine. We are servicing a very small amount of that to CoinGenius, which is going to be the first application of our API that will be available in December. Genius 15 really focuses on 360-degree sentiment. So we're really good at being able to break down, quantify, and qualify sentiment, fraud, fake news, and roll all of that up into real-time alerts for crypto traders and be able to curate whatever your own strategy is. So we're just passing data along. We understand that this data is really, really important, and the quants and the hedge funds and the family offices and everybody already wants it. They're just like, how soon can I have it? So that answer is now by the end of this year. And then we're going to pivot that into an app, into a consumer, really easy to use, personally curated app so that you can trade with the same level of data that the quants and institutional folks do. So if we can go to the next slide, I haven't even gotten to tell you guys about all of the really cool features. Our API is going to include something called coin scores, and that is quantifiable information of the indicated longevity of a coin, whether or not they're going to be around for a while. There we go. Whether or not they're going to be around for a while. And what we're doing is we're looking at, these are later slides, but what we're doing is we're looking at things like sentiment, we're looking at things like community. Do they have their own community? Are they committing code to GitHub? All of those, are they part of a bigger network? Really, where do they exist in the space, and really quantifying that and passing that information along? We're really good at being able to do predictive analytics, and we've created a predictive corridor of Bitcoin prices for next day end for 24 hours. And part of our roadmap will be to scale that back to 6 hours and then move that forward to a week to have predictive analytics. This allows you to do things like I was talking with Kevin, there we go, about derivative opportunities and arbitrage opportunities and all these things. We do not trade on our data, we provide our data. And so we're going to be providing the API. But what I'm going to show you here is actually the mock-ups, and they're old and the data's old, so don't hold me to it, and I've got better mock-ups for you guys now. But this is kind of like the bones of the product that's going to be available in January. So what we're looking at is actually taking the market, the crypto trading market as a whole, and being able to look at, from the market as a whole, the correlations between sentiment, between S&P, potentially you care about NASDAQ or Dow or Russell. And so if you see those correlations and you want to move in and out of the market or eventually be able to set up to execute, we're just giving you data, execute, potentially automate on those things. We're kind of laying the foundation for that. We're going to aggregate all of these coins, and we're going to provide the coin score. Can we go to the next slide, please?
That's actually, we got to cut you up. That's 4 minutes.
Oh man, I have so much more good stuff to show you. If you guys are interested to learn more, come find me. I would love to get a business card from everyone here in the room. Thank you so much.
Thank you, CoinGenius. Questions, surveys. So I guess, have you had an opportunity to sort of back test so far to see how accurate the predictions are?
I just sincerely appreciate that you asked that. Thank you so much. Yes, we did. What we had is almost a year of data. We're using our trading data is coming directly from Nomics. We are partnered with them, and I'm allowed to share that with the world, that's our baseline. What we did is we took all of that data, we ran it through a long short-term memory recurrent neural network, and we were able to get a predictive indicator over 97.5% at Bitcoin next day price. Then we took all of that data, about 4 months of history there. We did 2 months to train the model and then 2 months to actually run the passive arbitrage opportunity between the 5 exchanges. And those results were, needless to say, really ridiculously good. That's the tip of the iceberg of what you can do with this data. If you're taking this API and you're running it through your own AI machine learning, you're running it through your own backend process, as a fund, you can mitigate risk. As my quant team told me, Christina, mathematically an asset can only go one of 3 ways: up, stay the same, or go down. And basically you can create opportunities and, thank you. Thanks. Nope, still not. All right, opportunities and algorithms to offset for all 3 of the variables and binary tree decisions and all kinds of fun stuff when you get into AI. So if you're interested to learn more, please come find me.
Yeah, I was just wondering, so you said you had a partner that gets the data, but I know that data has no value unless it's accurate, right? So where are they getting the data from?
Correct. So we are an aggregator of aggregators, and we are working with really big brands that are very good with their data. I can't release the names of those yet.
Okay, and they do the sentiment and fake news and all that stuff.
Yeah, if anybody's in the space, they'll understand. So we're aggregating stuff that is like an aggregator of aggregators from like Twitter, Reddit, blah, 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 all these channels, and then it's put through 43 sentiment indices to be able to give like analysis.
The Divi project. Thanks. Was not planning to pitch, but okay, here we are. Okay, so my name is Nick Saponaro. I'm the co-founder, the developer of the Divi project, which is a cryptocurrency project that is aimed at making crypto accessible and easy to earn, transact, and store all cryptocurrencies. We do have our own blockchain. Our mainnet launched in September, and we have our own coin, Divi, which can be utilized for staking or for masternodes. The masternode system that we've built is basically offers in the coming year, but that's still being developed and strategized and all that stuff. We feel that there's a lot of friction when it comes to utilizing cryptocurrency. I mean, from the very first step, you have to figure out Coinbase, you have to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of these major currencies, then send it to another exchange. Right now we're on Cryptopia and Blue Trade and Cymex. So you have to send it to another exchange and then transition your Bitcoin or Ethereum into Divi. We feel that just that part of it is too friction heavy. So we're building atomic swap technology into our wallet that allows for quick transfers between Bitcoin and Divi. That's really, really early still. So in the meantime, we're talking to a few exchanges to integrate just a regular Bitcoin to Divi exchange within the wallet. In the near future, probably Q1 of 2019, we'll be releasing a mobile application that will have Bitcoin as well as Divi on it, and we'll continue to add cryptocurrencies and add our ease of use features to them. So some of the features that we've developed or are developing, one being human readable addresses. So rather than sending to a crazy string of numbers and letters, you can actually send to Nick at Divi Project, whatever. That's another friction point. We've lost something like 6 million Bitcoin, I think, to user error. So, and you can't blame the user, right? You gotta blame the user experience. And that's why we're so focused on building a user experience that makes sense and is familiar to everyone, not just developers. Okay, our team. Like I said, sorry, was not planning to pitch. I just got called up. Yeah, so our team and our community. Our team is comprised of ex-tech veterans. Michael Greenwood's our CTO. He was the lead UX designer for Windows 8, 8.1, and 10. We have Tim Sanders as one of our advisors. He was the CSO at Yahoo. Jeff McCabe's our CEO. Long string of serial entrepreneurship. So we have a really strong tech backing, which is why we're able to deliver technology on a pretty much shoestring budget. You may have heard me say earlier, we raised under $3 million in our ICO, yet we were still able to launch an entire blockchain desktop application. We continue development because we make revenue. We have an actual revenue model that sustains our company, so we don't need continuous cash infusions. Well, it'd be nice. Sorry for going way too long.
That was it. Beautiful.
So Mochi is like a one-click like masternode setup?
That's correct.
So is that patented, or you guys don't have patent?
It's not open source, but it's not patented.
Okay. Do you see any value in maybe just selling that eventually?
100%. Yeah, I mean, we can pretty much implement the concept on any masternode coin. We've started to experiment with deploying to like a Raspberry Pi, and we're trying to see different ways that we can further decentralize all the networks.
You know, there are thousands of coins out there that have masternodes and things very similar. What sets Divi apart?
So it's a few things. Team, obviously. We actually didn't just copy and paste our masternodes, or our code. We've built things into our blockchain that allow for things like microtransactions, things that tackle UTXO bloat, which is a big problem in Bitcoin, well, at least before Lightning. As well as, I totally lost my train of thought, sorry. Yeah, also our community is extremely strong. So we have a grassroots community of about 7,500 people on Telegram. Most of them have been with us since the ICO. Well, not most of them. We've added tons actually since we launched. But I think that's what's kept us going for so long. I mean, at any given time, if you look at our coin on Cryptopia, there's less than 1.5 million divvy for sale. For reference, you need 100,000 for the lowest level of Masternode and 10 million for the top. So someone couldn't even purchase a diamond Masternode at this point. And it's because we've built an earnings mechanism that encourages people to hold the coins rather than selling them, and they can actually then use those coins that they're earning to transact very easily. Hope that answers, yeah.
Awesome, thank you. For not knowing, you did a good job. Next, give it a second, but if we can get Giving Block up on the screen, and Giving Block slowly to come to the stage. By the way, if anybody was at their location last night, it was a fantastic venue, and I'm sure tonight's will be just as good, but the Giving Block.
Thanks. So, the Giving Block is essentially where nonprofits meet blockchain. Actually, do we have the clicker up here?
No.
Alright, go ahead to the next slide. So, the problem we stumbled upon was, people were making a lot of money in crypto, a lot of money in blockchain, but, there was very little use for it in the social good space. And we realized, not many nonprofits are taking cryptocurrency donations, not many even know what it is or even paying attention to it. So we decided to create the Giving Block, and we also found soon after that it's not just the nonprofits that don't understand blockchain, it's the blockchain companies and projects that don't understand nonprofits and how to best help. So our solution is, it starts with education. We teach nonprofits about cryptocurrency, how they can take donations, teach them the basics, so if someone asks them a question about it, they at least have heard it before. I'm still surprised by how many people you might walk up to and they'll ask me, what is blockchain, when I tell them I'm running a blockchain consultancy. And then it's really connecting them with the right projects. So, there's a lot of great blockchain projects out there. Not many of them are working with nonprofits, and I think there's a lot of really great use cases and a lot of good solutions out there for nonprofits to operationalize some of those products. You'll probably seen some of these examples in the news, but just last year alone, there were hundreds of millions of dollars donated in cryptocurrency. You've probably heard about the Pineapple Fund, an anonymous donor gave away, it was $50 or $60 million worth of Bitcoin. Ripple, I think, is honestly as popular as it is, partially due to the fact that they give away so much money. They give away tens of millions of dollars. They gave, I think it was $25 million to Donors Choose and a variety of other causes. And then last is Fidelity Charitable. Last year they brought in, I think, $70 million in Bitcoin donations. So this is an outline of our services at a high level. It really all starts with education. You want to get the leadership of the nonprofit in the room, do a blockchain 101, get them past those misconceptions, because all they really usually know, if they've even heard of it, is what they see in the media. Those headlines like, it's used for drugs, it's used for money laundering. But once you get past that initial kind of lack of knowledge or lack of understanding, something seems to really click in their mind. And once they sort of get it, there's kind of no going back. They are ready to dive in, start taking crypto donations, looking at different ways they could pilot a solution. And maybe the most surprising solution up here, or service, is media training. And it's funny because, as soon as we do these educational sessions, the next day already, we have the CEO sending us links about things he's reading on Coin Center or CoinDesk or Cointelegraph, and wants to be able to talk about it and learn more about it. So when he goes to maybe a healthcare conference or some sort of nonprofit conference, so he's able to, talk to people about it and kind of show off what his nonprofit is doing. it's a way for them to distinguish themselves. You know, we found that less than 1% of nonprofits accept cryptocurrency donation, so it's a great, you know, added, in a sense, competitive advantage. It's something that makes you unique and gives you an opportunity to connect with an entire new community.
Beautiful. Gotta cut you. Judges, any questions?
How does Giving Block make money?
So we started out self-funded, and you'll notice, you know, this is maybe a little bit different than the presentations. We're not really a tech company. It's more of a consulting company. We don't have a white paper. We just started. Yeah, like Marco said, we didn't come up with the white paper. We just went out and did it. So we have.
Today.
Yeah. So we just went out and did it. We have clients already. We have revenue. It's you know, we make money like a typical consulting business usually does. We charge fees for education, for setting up wallets, for, you know, helping them run a pilot, things like that.
Do you take a percentage of donations to the charity?
It depends on the charity. So some would actually prefer that because they don't want to have any upfront fees. So maybe we do the upfront education and setup and everything for free, but then they might agree to, you know, essentially give us something if it goes well.
And do you work with all charities, or do you have a vetting process that you use?
No, we have a vetting process. So, part of the vetting process is just talking to people in the nonprofit space that we know to make sure this isn't a sketchy nonprofit. But there's a lot of good free resources out there too, like Charity Navigator. So, you know, do that kind of basic research, talk to people. We don't just work with anyone.
So are you guys doing a raise right now, or what's the end goal with this?
So we're not really doing an official raise. It's really, you know, we're at the point where we want to scale this. And in order to scale this, we need to do a lot more education and really get this thing going. Right now, you know, it's just a handful of us working on it. But if we're raising money, it's only to scale at this point because we don't necessarily need the money to keep operating how we are.
Would that be debt or equity? What would we do if that route was taken?
So we wouldn't take on any debt at this point. We just don't feel like we need to. It would probably be an equity deal.
Giving Block, thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Next to the stage, if we could put up Mr. Nicholas Fett. We have Mr. Nicholas A. Fett.
Hey everyone, welcome.
Nicholas.
Yeah, I was running the slides, so.
There you go.
Keep it up. All right, good to go.
You're good.
All right, hi everyone. I'm Nicholas Fett. I'm the founder and CEO of Daxia, and we're reinventing the model for derivatives. So this is the current model. If you want to trade a derivative, you have to go through a slew of intermediaries, brokers, dealers, exchanges, and banks. It's very inefficient, expensive, and I don't want to tell you guys, it just kind of sucks. So next slide. So turn those frowns upside down. We've completely reinvented the model for derivatives. So to explain our product, we create long and short tokens on top of the Ethereum network. So what you do is you lock money into a smart contract, and that smart contract is going to pay the holder of a token at the expiration of the contract. So what this enables is now you can have a Bitcoin token on top of Ethereum, or even a short Bitcoin token on top of Ethereum. Also, you can have a Ripple token or Neos token. So really, you know, with the Ethereum network, you have all of these decentralized exchanges, you have all of these wallets set up, but they have no ability to really trade any of the other assets. But now you can actually do that, and that's what we're going after. You know, if you guys are into the derivative space at all, the big question you should ask is, okay, well, is it completely decentralized? And that's really been a big push for us. So the big problem with smart contracts is that they actually can't take outside data. So you need a third party to come in and actually put, okay, what's the price of Bitcoin or what's the price of Ripple into your smart contract. This was not acceptable for us. So what we actually wanted to do was completely decentralize the process. So we created this new process of having an oracle where we actually use the mining process on top of, we built an entire mining process on top of Ethereum that is now an oracle. So what it allows you to do is now with each block, instead of also just validating any transactions, you also give a price of Bitcoin or a price of Ripple. And so now the same sort of proof of work mechanism that's used to validate the blockchain is also used to validate an Oracle. More important than the product though, we have an excellent, dedicated, and growing team. So I'm happy to get back to my libertarian roots with this one. I actually worked at the CFTC for the last 3 years, which is the federal regulator of derivatives and then cryptocurrencies. And then we have a mature team that's actually built products and met deadlines. So we worked in large production systems and then also in startups. As far as our current status, so we've sort of been in research mode for the last 7 months because we got an Ethereum Foundation research grant earlier in the year. So we got $100,000 to help build out our product and then also help do some research on scaling efforts on top of Ethereum. And then we have a live product. So we launched 2 months ago. We have 3 patents pending on our products, and we've had over $10,000 in Ether traded. So the business opportunity is really simple. We just take a small percentage of every one of those contracts created. And the business opportunity is already there and growing. So we know people want to trade derivatives on top of cryptocurrencies. BitMEX does $2 billion in average daily volume. And then also similar smart contract structures, such as DAI, they actually just recently have now over 1% of all Ether, so over $200 million worth of Ether.
We got to catch you there.
Okay.
Good presentation. Any questions?
So do you think there's room for multiple projects that are doing derivatives on top of Ethereum, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so definitely. The big piece is there's not a whole lot difference between a derivatives protocol and then say like a prediction market protocol. But the difference is sort of in what markets you kind of go after. It's such a broad aspect about what it actually is. So we're going after kind of cryptocurrencies on top of the Ethereum network, but some of the other ones are, you can have a derivatives protocol for sports or something like that. So yeah, I definitely think there's room for multiple.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Next, if we can get Data Bunker presentation. Give it 3 seconds. Done. A few more. How's everybody doing? Good? I heard the after party was at 8?
8's fine. The band starts at 8:30.
Band starts at 8:30. Get there at 8, so you're ready for the band at 8:30. Where? It's at the Cambria Hotel. Is that correct? Cambria Hotel. It's just 2 blocks up. Guys, do we have a name for the restaurant or bar it's at?
It's at the Cambria. It's at the Cambria Hotel. It's at the Cambria Hotel, right up the street, 3 blocks up the way. Most of us are staying there. Cambria Hotel. They're actually Matthes Creative, who has just competed in the pitch competition, is redoing the whole area. We've rented out the whole space. So that we have a live band for a few hours, and then it goes into a DJ, and it's going to be totally awesome. There's some performers, it'll be great. But I'll tell you what else is great. This one, hey, listen to what he's
Hello, my name is Aaron Voss. I'm from Elkhart, Indiana. We've got a small little company there that we build exotic insulation, some other fun little projects that we do. But because of what we've been doing, dealing with governments and commercial institutions, we've never really had a consumer product before. How many people know what a black box is? Everybody know what a black box is? Yeah, so a black box, the reason for it is the preservation of critical data in a worst case scenario. So in an airplane, or now in a train, it's being legislated for trains that they have to have, and pretty soon it's going to be legislated for commercial trucking, that they're all going to have these hardened black boxes in them. And that's what our company does. The Data Bunker is not new technology. The owner of the company Thermodyne that builds these has been in this space for 27 years, building aircraft black boxes, and now the train black boxes, and pretty soon the commercial trucking black boxes. But for a very first time, we've got a consumer product. So this is our train model that we took the train parts off and made it a personal use black box. So now everybody can have their own critical data storage black box. The reason that was invented, the reason we thought of this, is we were watching these California wildfires, we're watching these hurricanes happening, and people are losing their critical data. Everything that they are afraid to put in the cloud, that they keep in paper documents or on a computer at home, then it's gone. As soon as the hurricane comes through, or the floods, or the fires, they have to flee and they lose all that stuff. So they have to go back forensically and try to bring back all that data. So it's a very expensive process. So that's why we came up with the data bunker for personal use. So in a worst case scenario, people can have their data preserved in an EMP-proof, fireproof, waterproof, drop-proof, crush-proof box. So if their house burns down, all they have to do is sift through the ashes and pull out their black box, and they still have their data. One of the other things that we're doing now is a shuttle service, so that if somebody has a black box in their home, they'll have a same black box in our facility, and then we ship a shuttle back and forth to make sure that's updated. The consumer controls the encryption, so we never see any of the data that's on there. But if somebody says, hey, my black box got stolen, it's okay. We go through a security process, and then we print them, remake them a new one, and they get their data back because it's always been backed up. So that'll be through a cell phone app. So, are there any questions?
Okay, well done.
What's the cost versus the cloud if someone was to use this as an alternative?
So if you purchase one of those right now with our coupon discount code, it's $11.95, so $1,195. So if you have ever lost data, had to send your hard drive away, it's a minimum $500, $1,500 to get your data back, if they can get it back.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
By the way, this thing is a proper box. If you see someone, he's lifting it with two hands, it's a proper heavy box. So black box, it is. I would like to introduce our new judge. We had a family thing come up, so we had to go. And Mr. Alan Witch from Naked Technologies. And please, can I have to the stage D-Economy, Mr. Robert Vanzetta. I'm sorry if I pronounced that. D-Economy, everybody.
Hey, how are y'all doing today? Yeah, so kind of last minute doing this, but excited to be up here. This is actually our first official pitch. Very excited for that. So we are D-Economy Incorporated. We've been around for about 8 months. Been kind of in stealth mode, build out mode, getting our patent, etc. I'm the co-founder and CEO. So we can get started with the first slide. So we pretty much see D-Economy as the ultimate vision of Ethereum, or really any smart contract platform. We've seen the vision of a smart contract platform to really cut out middlemen at the end of the day. Be it banks, be it the Amazons of the world, or the Ubers. It's really, our goal is to cut out middlemen. Smart contracts, I think, are the main backbone to do that. But to enable smart contracts and really the proliferation of that, I think we need a underlying arbitration system, which we've developed and now patented. So that's really our core IP and what we're looking to do. So on this slide, pretty much you have on the left, very cheap things to use, such as Craigslist, right? It's free, but there's a lot of it's random with fraud and kind of sketchy. Now on the right side, you have Uber, Amazons of the world. A lot of trust there, no problem, but they can take anywhere from 10 to 30% of every deal, be it from the consumer or the seller. We don't believe we are the best of both. We believe we're the best of both worlds, not just somewhere in between, but we're actually able to bring it down to about a 1.5% fee and have the same or even better trust than a lot of those platforms. So if you can go to the next slide. And at the core of that is our gamified arbitration system. So really here, the goal of the gamified arbitration system is to really disincentivize bad practices and fraudsters. So also the goal is to actually never even use the arbitration system. It should work so well and be so fair that people are scared to use it. It's just there as an insurance policy for hopefully every smart contract in the future, and actually incentivize the buyer and seller to work it out on their own. So that's the ultimate goal of our gamified arbitration system. Yeah, so thank you so much. Our ultimate goal, again, is go against the Amazons of the world, the Ubers. Actually, if we wanted to, we haven't decided if we want to go this route. Eventually go even do a gambling platform or a betting platform. Along with that, actually, such as the TaskRabbits of the world, being able to just do contracts, be it actually small contracts or large contracts, even corporations. But obviously, I think we have also a great, awesome team, which I'll get to in a few moments. I think that's one of our biggest value adds. But our advisors are also great, and they've had multiple successful startups and sold them or held on to them. And we should, of course, attack a little bit of a niche market. And this niche market isn't too small. As you can see here, about 50%, 50 billion estimated annual spend on these, but digital goods. So, think anywhere from World of Warcraft accounts to really anything that's digital, Counter-Strike skins, etc. And some of the synergies we see here are gamers were the first really to get into cryptocurrency. They understand it. They were the original miners. The actual marketplaces are rampant with fraud. You either need to not have any protection, such as the eBays of the world. I've experienced this myself. I've sold a lot of digital assets. They don't protect you. They don't protect digital assets. Or you go to some other companies which are middlemen, which will take your digital assets at a fraction of the cost and sell it to someone else. So we believe this market is good and gain the trust there and eventually take on the Amazons of the world.
Thank you. We got to cut you off. 4 minutes. Sorry, they took our mic. Judges, any questions?
Yeah. There we go. So basically, I'm seeing gas as like an oracle, almost? Is that?
Kind of, yes. So it's really a process and something we've been building on the blockchain, and we've gone through a few psychologists who've been very successful in how to gamify arbitration.
So who are the arbitrators that are?
Thank you so much.
Who are the arbitrators? Yeah, how do you decide how that works?
So we don't, the one thing my team agreed is not to go too much into exactly how our system works, unfortunately, but it's gamified and it's decentralized and they're relatively anonymous. That's as much as I can say.
Gotcha. Thank you.
What's your biggest challenge in the next 6 months?
Next 6 months, I would say our biggest challenge would be getting to where we want to be in terms of development. I would say that's our largest challenge. Be it doing it ourselves, I'm a programmer myself and working on that, but also hopefully getting enough funds to get it to the place we want to be. We want to have it extremely polished before we launch. We don't even want to go ICO. We want to get investment, do it ourselves, and then launch a polished version.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Next, can we get Mr. Daniel Montero? Mr. Daniel Montero in the slides.
So that is Daniele Monteleone.
Thank you. Yes. Yesterday we have been talking about different products, the privacy of the blockchain, and the digital rights. Today we will see, I am a student entrepreneur and a libertarian activist since a long time. And this is one of the projects that I'm following. And we are talking today about whistleblowing. Do you know WikiLeaks? I guess. So, what we did, I'm part of the hacker community since a very long time. And in 2011, we were afraid that when Assange was put in an Ecuador embassy, he was, maybe they could going to shut down WikiLeaks. So we started the development of a new project that was a decentralized leak platform. The name is GlobalLeaks, and this is a 8 years old project already ongoing. And in these years, we collected 2.5 million in donations, and we created the biggest whistleblowing network in the world, actually. We have more than 1,000 servers all over the world. Let's start with the presentation. And we already are in almost all the countries. So we are the Hermes Center for digital rights. Our developers are part of the Tor team, you know Tor. And what we are going to do today is create simply to answer a question that we did. These are some of our notes, some of the website. Some of them are very big. There is topics that are 42 main media, and we are in, for example, in the Italian official anti-corruption institution, also in Spain, and many other countries, Brazil, we see. What we asked a question: how can we monetize all this stuff? Because we receive hundreds of leads per month. And the answer has been the whistleblowing reward program. The whistleblowing reward program is a law that enforces the whistleblower to participate to the police work and to give good information in order to find the companies that are making malpractice. A percentage of this fine is given to the whistleblower. And since sometimes the whistleblowers, they don't know this law, or they are not able to create the legal action, or even they don't want to disclose their, anonymity. This is how we can help. So, Ethic Whispers is, if we can go back, please, to the first website. Yeah. So, Ethic Whispers is tokenizing the whistleblowing. So, the whistleblower sends us the link. Afterwards, we collect all the evidence, we find all the requirements to be fined for the company that is malpracticing. After the government applies the fine, we get the reward, and we split the reward with the whistleblower and the investors and the stakeholders.
Awesome. I just want to let you close that train of thought. Any questions, gentlemen?
What's the process for verifying the veracity of the whistleblower's complaint?
Basically, any company that is listed in the NASDAQ can be fined if it's making corruption or pollution or other kind of bad behaviors, even bad conditions for the workers, etc. There are many positions open in the whistleblower reward program that can be applied worldwide, because USA is operating worldwide with this law. So if there is a company, even in Africa, that is, for example, an oil company that is polluting the sea for the petrol extraction, and we collect the evidence, we prove that there is this bad behavior going on, the USA can apply a fine to this company, and the company is obliged to pay unless this company will be delisted from the NASDAQ, or will have other heavier sanctions. So this law is applied worldwide and have no borders, no limits.
But what steps does your company take to verify the truth of the complaint? In other words, how do you make sure it's just not some disgruntled employee that just wants to cause a problem for the company?
Yeah, this is an important part of the job, because all the evidence that are sent are to be verified. So we nominate a legal lawyer that has all the knowledge and also other expert people that can verify. In some cases, we go directly there in the situation to collect other evidence before creating the legal action. So this is part of our job, that is to verify that everything can go fine, can go right. Afterwards, all the folder is sent to the legal authority, who makes the final verification of everything, and afterwards they fine.
I want to tag on to that. Based on the additional input, the additional quantity of people wanting to whistleblow, how are you going to scale your research and scale the validity of the people's complaints?
There are 2 points that we are already scaling. The first one are the nodes. So every node is independent, and they receive and manage the leaks. So in this way we can scale even much more than actually we are. And for the procedures, after the procedures are collected and there are the requirements, the legal unit, we call like this, can be decentralized as well. So if there are few leaks, there is only one legal unit. But if there are 100 leaks, you can have 100 legal units. Of course, they have to be built and supported in the initial stage. But this is not a known practice, because in the USA there are hundreds of actually professionals that are doing this today.
I got one too. So when a case comes in, you said you have an attorney or someone look over it to make sure it's valid, right? So my question is, who pays for that? Because nothing's free, right? So where's the funds come from to pay for the actual due diligence?
Yeah, the collection of the evidence and the legal action require money. And this is essentially what we are doing in this pitch, is to welcome investors who want to participate in this project, because in this way we have created a business model. In some way, this is a business project. It's not only charity or, it brings justice. It helps the justice to come. At the same time, it has a sustainability business model that allows this to scale and to enlarge the horizon. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Last but not least, put your hands together for the last presenter, Mr. Mo Hassan.
Thank you. Let's run this one. Okay, perfect. Good afternoon. Thank you. I'm honored to be the last one. I'd be honored to be in any position. I'm just happy to chat with you guys. Thanks for being here. So good afternoon. My name is Mo Hassan. I'm with a company called Into Power. And I simply want to share with you today a problem that exists in the world. And I ask that you judge the problem to see if it's worth fixing. And then next I'll share with you a simple solution. And then I ask that you judge if you think this solution is a solution you want to consider. Is that okay? Great. Thank you so much. Let's begin with the problem. The problem that we have today is actually very, very simple. The problem is that right now there's too steep of a barrier for green products and services to enter into the marketplace. I'd like to explain that for a minute. What I mean by this is that there's many, many people that are social entrepreneurs, and I define an entrepreneur as someone who makes a profit with a purpose, and a social entrepreneur is someone who makes a profit with a purpose and that actually helps someone, or helps the planet, or improves conditions. That's the social aspect of it. It's not just I make money because I'm buying a car. I make money because not only will I have a new car, but I will have enough left over to make a difference for this world, to make a difference for the people and the planet and everything. everything else that I'm interested in. So those are what I'm describing as social entrepreneurs, and green products being products that actually have a positive impact on the world, have a positive impact on economics, on the environment, on services, and whatever's going on, but they actually make a difference. And too steep of a barrier, meaning like it's hard to get things on the shelf at Walmart. Have you tried? Right? It's hard to get things on the McDonald's menu. I mean, if McDonald's would take like a healthy organic burger and put it on the menu, gosh, think about the outlets. They could sell a bazillion of them overnight. But the barrier to entry is too steep. Does that make sense? So let's simply solve the problem using existing technologies and all of the goodwill and all of the intentions of the people, not just in this room, but around this planet that are interested. The answer is very, very simple. It's a solution. It's a platform. It's a solution that's based in artificial intelligence and based in blockchain that allows entrepreneurs, those with ideas on green products and services, to actually market and package and pre-sell their offerings with the help and advice from business experts just like yourself. So they have the right people helping with finance, sales, marketing, coaching, whatever is necessary, all together in one unified platform to support the ideas while they're going through development. And then once they reach a critical mass in actual orders, then a production team goes in and an entire company is formed to execute the project plan. And it's literally just getting things done. That's it for my pitch. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Judges.
Can you go a little more in depth on the AI part of things?
Sure, so AI would be approached from two different points of view. Actually, I'd say three different points of view. One is the IBM Watson point of view, and they've been working on business processes in particular. So we'll be looking at how do we make the supply chain field, which IBM Watson has been really, really in-depth with in the last 10, 15 years, and look at the supply chain system and how can we target those green sources of products, materials, all of those vendors that are necessary to make the world go around, to use that to line that up. Then comes all the Microsoft stuff. Now, Microsoft has been focused on more of the intellectual property side of things. How do we take natural language and work on business processes so that systems can be organized across Microsoft Office, SharePoint, Azure, and all of those types of things. And then the third point of view is actually where the innovation comes in. This is where we can identify and look at, by using the business experts in the world, to say what are the exact problems that are actually causing us from having success, and let's use artificial intelligence to now attack that problem. So not looking at it from the point of view of, hey, we're going to just make everything AI and all of a sudden, we're all going to worship some artificial intelligence overlord. Not at all, but rather let's look at a very practical approach to what are the business problems, what are the things that are taking a long time for businesses to execute, and let's use AI for that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I understand that like, AI is accurate, but AI and humans are much more accurate.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
So where are these people coming from, though?
So perfect. So as far as like all of the AI efforts that I'm currently mentioning, all of the AI efforts actually source their information from human beings that are validating all of the actions of the AI along the way. It's how do we make sure that the AI is doing a good job? Easy. Babysit the AI. Love the AI. Give it review and auditing of every single thing, and then cross-reference that with the governance that's being set up. And then continue to work on the governance. Instead of saying that, hey, we're going to work on, like many nations do, on a historical precedence-based system, like you screw up once, so therefore we assume you always screw up, or that same type of punishment needs to happen. Let's actually set up a form of governance that allows us to validate all of the AI actions that are going on, and then use business experts, human beings, to cross-reference that against our standards of operating and ethics to make sure the AI is doing what we want it to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you already have a team in place that's going to assist these companies that want to join your program?
So we actually are assembling the team right now. What we've noticed is that it's not difficult getting help for this thing. What the most difficult thing in this entire project is that we human beings oftentimes deal with our own fears and our own inhibitions and our own other things that get in the way. So it's actually finding the team of people that are emotionally clear in such a way that they can perform no matter what the conditions are.
Thank you very much, Mo. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we actually have one more presenter. Mr. Craig Wrigley of OFAC Compliance. Please, sir. No slides.
No slides. No slides. This is the last minute thing, and this is a little off track from what you've been listening to today. My name is Craig Ridgely. I'm the managing partner and vice president of the Trade Compliance Group. The Trade Compliance Group is a international trade consulting company here in Washington, D.C. I'm also a advisor to the PackCoin guys. How many people have a clue what trade compliance is? Wow, I don't think, 2 people. And Aaron's very happy that we ran into each other last night. Okay, and I've been waiting to ask this question forever of an audience in crypto. How many people here know there are export controls on encryption? We probably want to talk afterwards. Okay, so I happen to be one of the leading encryption control experts in the country for encryption items being exported out of the US and transported around the world. But I'm going to get back to trade compliance. Trade compliance is in the US is an effort to keep sensitive items out of the hands of bad actors and our enemies, okay? An example, one of my clients was visited by the FBI. The FBI wanted to know why their US-made wireless module was winding up in the IED debris in Afghanistan. Somebody was wiring IEDs with US technology and blowing our guys up, okay? So that's what I try to do, is help US companies and foreign companies pay attention to their compliance programs, their trade compliance activities, to make sure that they're not supporting bad actors. And when I say bad actors, they're really bad actors, okay? One of the best ways to do that is to do a trade compliance assessment. And I have invented a trade compliance assessment tool. It's a traditional SaaS model. It's in the cloud. It allows compliance professionals the ability to do trade compliance assessments of compliance programs anywhere in the world, remotely from their desk. Typically, you would have to hire me. I would fly to your site, wherever that is, Czech Republic, China, Detroit, wherever. You'd pay me $300 an hour for 3 days. You'd buy my food, my hotel, my car. You would spend about $15,000. With the trade compliance assessment tool, you subscribe to it for a year. You get the same result, actually a little bit better, for $495. Now, this isn't an advertisement for the tool. What's really remarkable about this conference and what happened for me here was that I learned that my trade compliance assessment tool is the security of the tool and the security of all my clients' data is being protected the old-fashioned way, AES 256 encryption algorithms. I learned today that blockchain can provide an extraordinarily better data security. And so what I would like to do is move towards putting my assessment tool on a blockchain like PAC, the guys that I advise in trade compliance items. So that's what I'm pitching here is I want to move to a blockchain-based trade compliance assessment tool. The neat thing about the tool too is, do I have time?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. The neat thing about my tool, it doesn't just do trade compliance. Any jurisdiction that is regulated by any government, the tool can be used in all those jurisdictions. I just need a different set of questions. If I'm doing export compliance, I have a set of questions. If I'm doing import compliance, I have a set of questions. If I'm doing defense security services assessments, I just need a different set of questions. So this tool is remarkably versatile. It scales great. I'm a little resource strapped right now, so that's my pitch.
Thank you so much.
So this is the import-export of software?
Software, technology, commodities. Aaron's data bunker. It's got encryption on it. It's got to be authorized before it goes across the border.
Wasn't there precedent set with the PGP in '95 that code is speech? So code is speech First Amendment, does that not apply here?
No, it doesn't apply. Doesn't apply. The rules that have been governing encryption in the Commerce Department have been in place since 1996. And it is startling that nobody in this room is aware of those controls.
Without giving away the farm, what's the first thing to do with the first piece of investment money you get?
It would be investigating, it's not investigating whether or not I can put it on blockchain, what's it going to cost to put it on the blockchain. For that, I would have to find a blockchain developer, just to start.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we do the bigger prize, as I mentioned before, my company will be giving away a smaller prize, but to be invested into their company as a means for us to find new funding, strategic partners, or the three-pronged approach that I mentioned earlier without trying to regurgitate it so we can get to resting and then to drinks. I actually chose two, and I'm going to award them the same amount, and I thought that one of them was dear to my heart as a miner because that's how we began, but also the other one, I really believe in the tech and where it's going to go. It may have been a bit too technical for a lot of people in the room, including myself, but I believe where it's going to go, and I'd like to present the first one to Daxia. So Daxia, thank you. And the second one, like I mentioned, the things that they're doing in mining and the idea of that it's not traditional and where it's going to be headed, I love it. It was one of the first presenters, and that's Tato. So thank you, Tato. We're going to break. Yeah, get him on stage. Come here, Martin. Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations, guys. Fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. All right, we're going to take a quick 1 minute, 2 minute break. Bruce is going to get up here, and we're going to announce the winner of the larger prize. So thank you very much for your patience. Thank you, judges. And we'll dismiss then.
Kevin Soltani, great job, brother. All the way, we met on the other side of the world. Do it again, great job, man. Awesome, guys. Okay, so what we're going to do now, of course, that was the smaller prizes, and thank you very much, Kevin, for doing that. And then Marco is going to confer with the judges. Maybe if you guys would, however you guys want to work that, step off or come on, whatever you want to do. I think come off. While we're waiting for that, I'm going to welcome Travis to the stage. Travis is doing the machine trading, but I'll let him tell you about it. One, you might get things like batteries, make sure that one is good.
Give us something. So my name is Travis Winter. For those of you that didn't hear me speak, I'm with Rosewind Capital. I'm the head trader for Rosewind, and I've been a technical trader for 37 years. And one of the things that I come to these conferences for is that I'm really committed to is being of service to people and making a contribution to your life. And the way that I do that is I teach people how to technical trade. I teach people how to do what I do. Now, can I teach you how to be a technical trader and do that in a couple of hours? No. But what can happen in a couple of hours is I can teach you in trading how to enter a safe trade and how to stay out of trouble. And so at the Cambria, starting at 6 o'clock, I'm going to run for about 2.5 hours. There's a conference room. And I will go through kind of exactly what I do in technical trading. Normally this class, I spend 9 hours teaching this, and I do it over an entire day. So I crunched it to about 3 hours, and when I was speaking in Las Vegas at the World CryptoCon, I spoke to a packed group of about, they did 3 one-hour sessions for an hour for about 150 people or so. But anyway, I'm going to try to condense all this to about 2.5 hours. And I will tell you this, and I'm not kidding when I tell you this. Number one, the conference room there will not hold all the people in here. But for the people that come, you'll get a lot of value for your time. And if you don't come, I'm serious about this, it'll cost you $1 million. It really will, over the life of the lifetime learning that you'll receive, and what we'll actually be able to put into your pocket. It'll cost you $1 million not to come. So avail yourself to it. It's free with your admission to the conference. So you know, when I charge for my time, I charge $450 an hour. People spend, you know, a lot of time to you know, do one-on-one sessions with me. So, like I said, you have an opportunity to spend a couple hours with me, and I really would like to contribute to your life like that, because it'll make a profound difference. So when you walk into, I'm hoping when you walk in the glass room that's right to the left of the front desk, I think this is the room that I'm going to be in, but that could get switched. But let the front desk know. They'll know where I'm at. So if you ask the front desk, they'll know where I'm at. So but probably right to the left. If you're facing the front desk, right to the left, there's a glass room there. You'll see it. So.
All right, absolutely fantastic.
And there's some flyers circulating around.
I was your promo model. All right, fantastic. Well, you know, guys, we're coming up to the end of it here. Of course, they're going to come out here and announce some big winners. Really want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank all the speakers for coming as speakers. Coming and speaking. I'll name some people, but I don't mean to leave anybody out. Just people that I see. Stephen Melnick, thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. And Mo Hassan, I appreciate you as well. And Sonny, thank you. Mom and Dad. Who made the trip. And my brother David and James here, who've been working for free, tirelessly. And of course, Mr. Matthes over there, and my beautiful wife, Emmy Porter, who has also had to put up with everything that I've been done. All right, now I'm getting kicked off the stage. It was just getting good. And I want to thank the Blinded Veterans, Florence, and his girl Bessie, and Roland for coming in from California. And Marco, I'm going to give you the stage, my man. Great job. Great job, Bruce. Come on, guys. Good job.
Testing. I think what we should all do before we get into this, the reason why we're all here today is because of Bruce Porter. I met Bruce in Frankfurt in May, and I actually saved him from going to the red light district. But he went after anyway, I believe. But Bruce is one of the guys that you meet in life that you remember because of his sheer enthusiasm for what he does. And that really, it just affects everybody. And I think it's a very magical thing that he's still got that enthusiasm. Because I know what it's like to put on an event in this industry right now. It's not easy. Because the market's gone completely in the toilet, right? So there's a loss of interest, and to get this many people in this event in Washington, I think it's a fantastic job. So let's give it up for Bruce, please. Right, so we have some news. Breaking news: Bitcoin price. No, I'm joking. Right. So the breaking news is we have to say well done to everybody for getting on the stage and pitching. Because I think you did a fantastic job of getting that message across. Yeah? One thing I will say to all of you, this is constructive advice to all of you, is all of you that were pitching today, you need to work on your marketing message to your consumer. That was the weakest thing that you presented. So your value proposition has got to be one line. It's going to be a call to action of why they should buy from you. That was the only thing that was the weakness in all of you. And you should work on developing that because it's the most important thing in terms of getting money in the door. Cash flow is everything to a company. It's oxygen. Without that, you will die. So please, please, please develop your marketing message. It's not just your product. You've got amazing products. But the people on the street will go, huh? You know, they don't understand it. So you've got to get that. You've got to bridge that technology to the person on the street that's going to buy it. Does that make sense, everybody? Yeah. Okay, so in third place, can we have a drum roll, please? Third place?
We chose Data Bunker as a third place.
Data Bunker, let's give it up for Data Bunker on stage! Okay. Between you. So, well done, my friend. So they're going to tell you what they liked about you and what they thought you need to improve. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just to start off, I think the idea of data integrity and keeping that safe over a long period of time is valuable, so that's why it stood out to me, at least. So.
Blake?
Yeah, same here. I mean, this is obviously an awesome, incredible piece of machinery here, if you will. It's super heavy, but I think we all have to be concerned, legitimately concerned about where we're going to be keeping our data and how we're going to store it. And so I really like this project. Thank you.
I wish I had this product because I needed it, but I don't think you're going to need the money. I think you're going to get it without any problem.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think it's a good excuse for a man to carry a handbag.
It comes in pink also.
It comes in pink. Chester, where's Chester? You want pink, right? Yeah. So well done, mate. Good job. Excellent. Thank you very much. You better step out. Okay, in second place we have Tata. Where are those guys? Yes. Congratulations, fantastic product you have. And I think the team loved the point about the mining, because the mining is getting redundant now. And it's just about, I guess, bridging that message of actually what we're actually going to be mining for and what the end consumer is going to buy in terms of your marketing message. Any feedback from you guys?
No, I think you did a really good job. I think that, like Marcus said, the biggest challenge that people are going to have is getting their point, their initial offering, their initial emotion, why people are going to buy. What's that hook? What's that pitch? What's that pain that they're going to have? And you did a really good job, and I think that's what's going to get you a long way.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And also, I love the idea of just hunting value at the margins. I think that graphic did a really good job of explaining that. And I think just democratizing access.
Okay, well, they're on stage asking for you right now. Where are you? They're on stage asking for you right now. Okay, well, you want your prize?
That's Bruce AI.
But yeah, democratizing access to mining I think is important for the space to grow forward too. So that was another huge point for us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Give it up. So we have a winner. Are they present? Is the question.
Ooh.
Or are they artificially present? So the winner of the pitching contest, and in first place, and the winner of the $100,000 naked dollars, and much more, because every one of you that pitched today are invited to my 2-day Build a Business Empire weekend. I'm going to be giving you 20,000 cash to the winner of that. So it's not about you've lost this, there's a journey. And the most important thing is in life is to really learn from the people that have been successful in doing what you're trying to do. So in that contest through this year, we're going to be mentoring you to get your marketing message right, get your pitch right, so you can get your funds in within the next year. Does that sound exciting to anyone here? Yeah. So all of you are invited to that, and if you didn't pitch today, you can still come on the weekend, just talk to us. Because you might have a pitch in a month's time. You might be doing something, you might know a friend that wants to learn from that. So the winner of the contest is Coin Genius! Coin Genius, come on! She's on the phone! I'm on the phone, sorry, yeah. She's holding for me? What?
I'm so sorry. Thank you guys. I messed up my flight, so I'm trying to get...
You're trying to get a new flight?
I'm trying to get another flight.
So you're actually multitasking right now on stage.
I am, I'm not good.
You went in a competition and you... What can I say? Okay, so what did you think was so good about her project?
Yeah, for Sure. So it stood out a lot with us is because of the idea that data is new oil, right? And bringing Wall Streets to all streets and really getting that available to everyone. So whether it's API for an aggregator of aggregators, sentiment, fake news filters, I think that could be valuable if executed properly. So that's
Thank
what I
you
liked.
so much. Thank you.
Alan?
Your passion for what you're doing and your knowledge of your client base. I think that was spectacular.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I agree. And the only thing I said before you went in the room, but is you've got to develop your marketing funnel.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. We're really at the infancy right now.
Yeah.
We're just scratching the surface. So happy to network with everyone. I'm going to try and change my flight so I can stay a little bit longer.
You're coming to our 2-day event to learn from us as well.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So you get $100,000 naked dollars. So we get your card from you.
This is just the light bulbs working right now. God.
So do we have any pictures, photographers, anything like that? You can take a picture. Come a bit closer.
Like, hold on. Katie, hold on 1 second.
That's better. That's better. You want to say anything?
Yes. I want to
It
give...
had to be my dad. Yeah. Who brought him? She has 6 kids.
I'm not surprised.
Yes, I want to give the biggest shout out to my team. I work with a team of geniuses. It is not a marketing ploy. These people are geniuses. They're so smart, from our data science team and our quant trading team and our marketing team that understands the need for all of this. And our CEO, Jeremy Bourne, who is just the most incredible human being. He quit his job. He has the full support of his wife and his 2 daughters to do all of this. He's just going to be incredibly ecstatic for me to share the news. So thank you guys so much. I really, really, really appreciate it.
You're most welcome. Fantastic. Great job. And please tell your team. Do you want me to tell your team that you've won the $100,000 naked dollars? Or you want to keep it private?
I don't know yet. I have to talk to Katie before I
Okay.
can think of anything else.
So we need to contact you, get your card, and we'll give us your wallet address. We'll drop them in your wallet. Okay?
I would love that. I'm going to change my flight and we'll work out all the details.
Fantastic. Great job. Thanks to everyone. Over to Bruce.
Thank you.
Bruce.
All right. I'm good. I'm all mic'd up. But I'm about to be unmic'd. And we're going to party down in the Cambria tonight. And it's going to be awesome. So, hey, thank you very much. Tyler, you're the man. Thank you very much. We're all going to have a great time tonight. Again, that'll start around 8 or 8:30. We'll have all the art set up there. And as you can, we're 3 blocks away, 9th and O. Thanks, everyone, very much. Thank you to PackCoin. Thank you to DC, Blockshot DC, Cryptocurrency Wire, Litecoin, Sonny with his global tech, the Satoshi School, Leighton, the MessengerBank, Icon Tech. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Thank all of you guys for coming. Really appreciate it. I'll see you guys tonight. Hey, can we get the speakers that are here, if you guys can come up on stage, and if you can come on up as well, let's get a picture. Would you like to join us?
Yeah.
Come on up, Nick.
And after they go, because I don't want the phone to close. Yeah. When
wants to use
after
his
everybody
camera.
goes, because he will take my. By the way, if you need my password.
Oh, I can
Marco,
just I can trust
you
him.
join
You
us?
know, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm used to phones.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You want to join it? Yeah, come on. You just want, man. Get up here.
Step back. Oh wait.
Come on up. We'll get a nice picture.
Did we get everybody? Nope. Correct.
Yeah. Danielle, hey, thank you. Actually, thanks for the Bitcoin private as well. They're just so private. I forgot.
Robin! Fruity, good job.
Another one. What the heck, right? Yeah, you just take a bunch and then that's
Okay, we good? Yeah. The middle, everybody? Yeah? All right, thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, all right, I'm on my way, guys.
I thought yours was good, man. Thank you. I was like,
I honestly,
you didn't even know, right?
I had no idea what was pitching. I mean, it's not like I don't pitch it all the time, but
be good, right?
Yeah, and I